Yeah. Is this working? You join? Let me know. Sonic. You're into this meeting, being transcribed and subscribed. It means it's recording. Could be mistaken, but thinking. I have 2 packets for myself there. Yeah.
Idea.
Time is 6:05, and I call the special session of the White Water City Government Senate to order. If you please would, if you're able, please join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready, Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Arnett,
Present.
Senator Coleman,
Present.
Senator Janetti,
Present.
Senator Gielig,
Present.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Kiwu, Senator Lang,
Present.
Senator Majors,
Present.
Senator Punzel,
Present.
Senator Purnell,
Present.
Senator Reberg,
Present.
Senator Reyes, Senator Richardson, Senator Schroffnagel,
Present.
Senator Thompson,
Present.
Senator Vanderhyde, Senator Wells,
Present.
Senator Wheaton, Senator Werner, Speaker Patricus.
Present. All right, seeing a quorum is present, we'll go into the approval of the agenda and minutes, starting with the minutes from March 30th, 2026. For a motion to approve. Senator Punzel.
Move to approve.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Giannetti.
Second.
Second. I'll go into a voice vote. Acclamations when called. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes from March 30th have been approved. Going to the minutes for May 4th, 2026. Look for a motion. Senator Punzel.
Move to approve.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Giannetti. It's been seconded. We're going to a voice vote.
Acclamations.
Acclamations when called. Is there any opposed? Seeing none. We're going to the approval of the agenda for April 11th, 2026. Real quick, I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to change it to the agenda. See on screen here. We removed one directorship and added some names. I'm going to ask for unanimous consent. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda will be amended. We're looking for a motion to approve. Lang. Motion to approve. So moved. Is there a second? Senator Giannetti. Second. And seconded. We're going to a voice vote. Acclamations been called. Is there any opposed? Senator Punzel.
Motion to amend. Notice the agenda states that's for April 11th. We are no longer the month of April.
Look at that. I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to amend April 11th to May 11th. Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda will be reflected. Now, we're going to go to a hand vote on the agenda because there's opposed. So you want to raise your hand for aye, adopting the agenda. Are there any nays? Seeing no nays, the agenda has been approved. We're to unfinished business. We're starting with item A, S 25-26-12, 26-27, Executive Board Alignment Act. As it's week 2 of an S bill. As it's week 2 of an S bill, we have a 10-minute timer, and as we've had 7 hours of floor discussion on this bill already, we keep it 10 minutes. But the 10 minutes starts now. Who wants to start us off with discussion? President-elect Wilson.
Are we on?
There we go. Yeah, we've had 7 hours of discussion on this thing. I think it's in a great space. I think it's going to allow us to do what we need to do next week. I appreciate all the senators who have hopped on, who've joined us to build what I think is a much stronger piece of ledge than we had about a month ago in front of us. So thank you all very much. Thank you for your help. Yeah, excited to see it pass. So I would encourage an aye vote.
Any other discussion? Senator,
Yeah, I disagree with this piece of legislation pretty strongly. The biggest problem I have is with the operations lead. I believe that the operations lead should be something that is the responsibility of the vice president. And I believe that and this is something that I believe that the submitters would agree with me on is that it sort of elevates the executives. It elevates the president and vice president to a sort of higher stance than they would be otherwise. And I don't think that that's a good thing. I think that's going to create sort of a pious energy coming from the executives. I think it's going to create sort of a big head. I think that the president and the vice president are students just like us, and they should act that way. And I think that we shouldn't be elevating the president and the vice president up that high. I think also that it's going to separate the president and the vice president from students, having this liaison between the executives and the president and the vice president, director and the executives. For example, if I have a problem, if someone comes up to me and says, hey, there aren't enough fruit in the dining hall, I'm not going to go to Doug and tell him. I'm going to go to Keaton. I'm going to go to Matthew. I don't go and I don't talk to Doug about that. And that's going to create a further distance between the executives, the president, the vice president, and the actual students and their concerns. And it's putting them on this high pedestal. And that's just something that I think that the organization would really suffer if we implement.
any other discussion here? Senator Reyes.
I think this is a great legislation. I think it sets like a clear guideline for like what is to come. You know, like there are some flaws to this, but you know, every bill has some flaws to it. And I think the benefits outweigh the negatives. And so I mean we have to give Isaiah a chance. You know, if this doesn't pass, then we would have, you know, to go to another special session. And you know, I just feel like we should just finish this as soon as possible. And just see like, you know, like if this works or not. So
Senator Reaper.
So, I agree with Senator Reyes a lot. I think that we should give people a chance, give this framework a chance. I do genuinely like this framework a lot. I think it can work in practice. I don't think that people get too biased. People get too big-headed if they're just kind of managers of others. And seeing multiple different vice presidents in the past, I understand that that job can fluctuate a lot in what it looks like and kind of how they do their job. And I really do like the idea of someone who can be an executive board member and still manage other executive board members and kind of be in the know at the same time as meeting with people and kind of getting their opinions and 2 cents on things. Also, I don't know. I don't think it would separate people necessarily from the students who they serve unless they were just kind of inherently doing a bad job. I think it always has to go up the food chain. And if the operations lead is not telling the vice president and president what they're doing and what concerns are going on, I think they're just not doing their job. I think that would kind of be us picking a bad operations lead or something like that. So it's just my 2 cents.
Senator Lang.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what President-elect Wilson said earlier. This bill is more than just 7 hours on the floor. It's about almost a month worth of work between a lot of different people and a lot of moving parts. And I think that what we have is a really good place. And I'm going to encourage a vote of yes on this. I think that if there was something that is truthfully an issue in this, we would have caught it by now. And obviously there's always things missed, but I feel like the amount of work that has gone into this is reflected here. And I think we should give people a chance.
President-elect Wilson.
I'll let the senators go first.
Senator Brunel.
This is not just a piece of legislation that is going to go into effect for President Wilson. This is a piece of legislation that will go into effect for our body in perpetuity. The standing rules, in the standing rules, it says that it is a permanent document in nature. We should not be changing the standing rules to say, oh well, let's give this a try. Or if we don't know that in the future, in future future administrations will give the same sort of go at it.
Senator Coleman.
From an administrative perspective, I've received some insight that leadership is about this commitment to those around them, and that an effective leader has those around them that they want to continue to still be in these roles and in these actions, even when they're gone. So I believe that as leaders of WSG, they assume a burden of responsibility that they're very much aware of when they come into those roles. And a challenge or a gap in that practice is delegation. So I believe that with this bill and with the items outlined throughout it, this is a belief of building a relationship from the top all the way to every brass and every directorial role. And that with this delegation comes an active commitment to the leaders serving themselves, serving their constituents, and serving the students. So hopefully, if that burden of responsibility is not met, there is, whether it be contingencies or the self-acceptance and accountability that comes from a Senate.
Senator Reaper.
Never really openly advocate for changing the standing rules ever. As someone who's changed them a lot, I'm sure it's hard to believe, but I don't think it should kind of stop you from ever doing what you think is good and taking a chance on something. I think I do see the parliamentarian person's point about them being permanent in nature and them sort of guiding other administrations, but by no means does that mean they can never change. It is very easy to change the standing rules, and it takes one bill. I think this is really great. I would advocate for this in almost any case. I do want to put it out there that just kind of the fact that you don't know what the future looks like shouldn't ever change your willingness to change the standing rules on anything.
That is 10 minutes. I'll allow an opportunity if someone wishes to extend debate, motion to do so, otherwise we'll go right to voting. Seeing no motion, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll whenever you're ready. Vote of aye is to adopt the legislation, vote of nay is to not. As this changes, so standing rules require 2/3 majority to adopt. You can also pass and you can also abstain. On something. Any clarifying questions on what that vote means? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Healy.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Nay.
Senator Reberg.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Wells. Aye. Speaker Patricus.
Aye. All right, a vote of 15-1, S 25-26-12, 26-27 Executive Board Alignment Act has passed. That we're into new business, starting with R 25-26-07, resolution honoring the service of Ava Hernandez. Smitter, you have the floor.
I gotta find it. Yeah. We. There we go. Hello. And this bill was written by Senator Thompson and then Ashley Sanderson and Clerk Emeritus Isabel Cartwright. And the last two, they wanted to be here, but they were unable to make it. I just wanted to say that. But wrote this just in a big thank you to Ava Hernandez, Senator Hernandez, as she is graduating. And Ava has been a very active member throughout this campus. She, as written in the second whereas, she has served as Greek intern, chapter president Alpha Gamma Delta, treasurer Order Omega, and a handful of other things. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to her because last semester, in the fall, so last semester with the Senate election, we needed some more appointments to the committee. And I went to both her and Director Rosequist, who both were not in the organization at the time. And they both joined with happy smiles, and Ava had no clue what student government was besides for what I've said to her in the past. So I was very thankful that she joined the committee, and then from that decided to join the Senate. So I just wanted to read off the last line, right? Which one is it? Sorry, I gotta check. Just Therefore, be it finally resolved, the Whitewater Student Government proudly recognizes and honors Ava Hernandez for her service to the Whitewater Student Government and the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, extends its best wishes for her future endeavors, and looks forward to the continued positive impact that she will make in her future pursuits. I yield.
Ready. With that, Renee, any questions for the submitter here? Are there any questions on this legislation? Seeing no questions, we'll go into content changes. Are there any content changes? Senator Hernandez.
Just adding after American Marketing Association, new member committee is not the VP. No,
For new member committee? After-
yeah, American Marketing Association, new member committee.
I'll ask for unanimous consent to adopt that. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, are there any other content changes? Awesome. Seeing no content changes, we're going to clerical edits. Are there any clerical edits? Seeing no clerical edits, we will go into content changes, or, discussions, sorry. For discussion? Discussion. Under Reberg.
For Ava, but I'm so glad that I did get to meet you. You're so wonderful. It's like I'm sure everybody else is. So thank you for being so willing to do it, especially considering you didn't know much and you had to come to like 6 hours. So I appreciate it.
Dr. Rosequist.
Yeah, so I just want to say Ava has been a very big advocate throughout campus and her time here the past 4 years. She didn't join student government obviously until this semester. However, she has been very present in other areas of campus. So thank you for everything you've done for the campus. It's been very fun to watch you grow the past 4 years. I met Ava, the second or third week of school here, fall of 22. So yeah, congratulations.
Vice President Reiser.
So I first got to know Ava through one of our marketing classes, creating social media posts. We were specifically in a group together, and even just in that group project, it was evident that you're great at like rallying a team. And so obviously from the bill, that shows in the other things that you've been involved in, aside from being a senator. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done. And it was also a pleasure working with you in that group project. So I'm glad that you joined student government too.
Seeing no further discussion, I'll take the last one here. It's been a pleasure having you in the Senate. Also, something I want to note is you joined through an election. Not many people do that. I think everyone else in this room has joined through an appointment, including myself. The only other person I know that did that is Blake Irwin. So, joined through election. Oh, and our very own clerk. Look at that. I was mistaken. But yeah, it's been a pleasure having you in the Senate. With that, Madam Clerk, if you please call roll, vote of ayes to adopt the legislation, vote of nays to not. You can also pass abstain. Any clarifying questions on that? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti. Senator Healy.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez. Aye. Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Brunel.
Aye.
Senator Reberg.
Aye.
Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson. Senator Schrocknagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Wells. Aye. Speaker Rodriguez.
Aye.
Oh, Senator Arnett.
All right, no vote of 16-0. R 2627, R 252607, resolution honoring the service of Ava Hernandez has passed unanimously. If you wish, I'll allow you a few moments to say some words, but as we go on the
Just like, thank you. I know I probably came in here and you're probably like, who is this girl? That's what I was thinking too. What am I doing here? But everyone has been so kind and welcoming to me. But thank you for being so welcoming and kind and always remember you guys. That's it.
Alrighty, with that, we are on to item B of new business, R 25-2608, resolution honoring the service of Madeline Rosquist, submitters Clark West and Senator Thompson. You have the floor, whenever you're ready.
Is it still on? It is. All right. I'll wait for Senator Thompson to get over here. All right. Basically, kind of want to say same thing, a different way though as well to Director Rosequist. She has also been very involved throughout campus, which is shown in the third whereas, where she was involved as homecoming intern, president of ASCM, philanthropy coordinator for PHC, then vice president of philanthropy, recruitment, and member experience for Alpha Gamma Delta. And she has also been in this organization at least once, I think it was twice before being director, once. And she was a pretty good senator, and then we were very glad to have her come back as a director. She's also my big, and so I'm very grateful for her. But if you would like to say something.
Maddie, even from the first time I met you, I knew you did a lot for this campus. I think every time you mentioned another thing, I was like, oh my God, what hasn't she done? And you just make a really good positive impact on everyone. And I hope this bill won't be enough to thank you for everything you've done, but I hope it at least starts.
I also want to mention during her time as director of student affairs, she's done so much. She stepped into the role of associate director about halfway through the fall semester, I believe, and then stepped into director for this semester. And she really locked in on It's On Us stuff and the campus safety walk and did a great job. And from that, she won eBoard Member of the Year during the gala. So also for the last line on here, therefore be it finally resolved, the Whitewater student government proudly recognizes and honors Madeline Rosequist for her service to the organization and the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, extends its best wishes for her future endeavors, and is confident she will continue to make meaningful impact in all that lies ahead. I yield. Oh, another submitter just walked in. But okay, I yield.
Alrighty, we're into questions for the submitters here. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, we will go into content changes. Is there any content changes? Senator Bunzel.
So looking at this bill, I cannot think of anyone more deserving to be upgraded to a merit status in this instance. Not only was it stated by Sadie that she managed to take over as the student affairs director halfway through a semester, but looking at all this too, I can't see anybody more deserving of emeritus than Madeline right here in this moment. So I would actually like to, anybody's willing, I would actually like to make a motion to upgrade this to an emeritus bill.
What's your motion? I need words. What are you moving to change?
I move to upgrade this to an emeritus bill.
That motion as is ruled out of order. If you'd like to make content changes, need what the content changing to be.
Oh, it would change it to resolution honoring the significant contributions of Madeline Rosequist, and it would label her as emeritus or student affairs director emeritus.
How would you rank that?
I would change the title to resolution honoring the significant contributions of Madeline Rosequist, and then therefore be finally resolved the typical emeritus.
You say what would you like the resolution to say? And I can write it down and then I can rule it. I can't.
Never mind.
If you find wording, but if there's any other content changes, I guess I'll give a reminder for a content change. I need what words would say.
It is within order.
Okay,
Another one.
now that I have a template in front of me, the title will be changed to resolution honoring the significant contributions of Madeline Rosequist. And then the final one would be changed to therefore be it finally resolved and henceforth be it known that on passage of this legislation, the signature of the president and their degree conferral, Madeline Rosequist shall be granted the title of Student Affairs Director Emeritus and hereby be granted all honors and privileges for which the title bears.
Oh, okay, it has been moved. Is there a second? Senator Arnett.
Second.
Seconded. We're in discussion on that motion. Made a motion. I'll you the first ones.
So I'm in favor of this mostly because looking at the contributions, Madeline's done it all. She's held positions of leadership in Greek life. She picked up the student affairs director position halfway through the semester, and took it and ran with it. Not many other directors in our organization's history can say that. That is noteworthy in of itself.
Is there any other discussion? Senator Purnell?
I think Director Rosequist is doing a fantastic job. And I think it is admirable that she has stepped up to the plate, so to speak. Benefits to her. And the theme of things that she has done outside of the organization as well. However, I don't think that she is quite at emeritus level for this position. Because emeritus is usually for when you do something within your position that is above and beyond within the position itself. And while I believe that Maggie has done a fantastic job, I don't think it has gotten to that.
Senator Lang.
Director Rose has done a fantastic job, especially picking up in the middle of the semester, serving for about a semester and a half, whereas most directors' terms is a full year. And I think that all the accomplishments that she has been able to get done this semester has proven that. It was an honor to serve as the vice chair for student affairs. Directors really closely, I can guarantee that Director Rosequist is 100% deserving of emeritus status.
Going back to the previous point made by parliamentarian Purnell, though, I would also argue that all the actions outside of WSG would also aid in the contribution of granting her emeritus. As being the student affairs director, you have to be active within the student body. Her actions outside of WSG, I would argue, exemplify the justification even more, going above and beyond what her position entails.
Advisor Clark.
At this point, I don't believe that Maddie meets the requirements of having served for the correct amount of time, but would potentially at the end of the term that she's currently in, so it would be considered next semester.
She, I believe, would meet the requirements. I believe it's 1 year total in WSG and then a semester in the role.
Which hasn't been completed.
She was a senator all the way through.
It would be on degree control. So
That has nothing to do with yourselves.
I'm interpreting it as she's eligible. If someone wishes to,
I think precedence has been that it's been after the term has been completed, but that is only in my time here, which is fairly limited.
Clerk West.
Since there is also, we so far this semester had it. You know what, just kidding, never mind.
Maddie, you've done a great job. Gonna speak directly at you. You've done a great job. I think no one was better deserving of Executive of the Year. You're among the top 4 of my favorite directors. Actually, you're all tied for my favorite. I lied. But as this was not introduced as an emeritus bill, I don't believe it would be best practice and or ideal to amend it to be as such. But we are still in discussion on that. I am enforcing two speaking turns per.
I mean, I disagree. Speak for that point. I think it's fine to move to have it be emeritus. I think that's what it's deserving. I think it is also important to note that within our standing rules, it is recommended that we do not exceed 3 emeritus members, 5 at the very maximum. This is a very, very, very like top level like award, a very top level title. If we were to bestow this position tonight, this would be our 3rd for the year, the semester, and it is not recommended that we go above there. And I would like you to consider if there's anyone else who might be deserving, if there's anything, any sort of difference between the levels of achievement. Not saying that Maddie has not achieved, because she has. She's done a fantastic job, and I think that she's really exceeded in her position. I just don't think that she's quite reached that threshold yet.
Senator Reberg.
I love the discussion and love everything that's put forward. You sort of agree with the rest of leadership up here. I'm old. I've been here long enough to see arguments on the floor over emeritus and whether people have contributed enough when they've been in positions for more than a year. And not that Maddie hasn't done enough, because trust me, you have done plenty for this organization. You've done plenty for all of us. But I do think there's some sort of kind of thing to the minimum being 1 semester in a position and kind of just hitting that minimum. I think that Maddie's done so much for all of the campus, and I really, really appreciate everything you've done. Don't get me wrong, but I'm with the Senate parliamentarian. I'm not sure this class of emeritus quite yet.
Senator Thompson.
I think that maybe this bill would just be best as was originally submitted, not merits.
These are always difficult conversations to have every year of how do we honor someone in the best way. Usually I defer to the submitters of legislation on what they feel is best. Sometimes I don't, but in this case I am. There's any other discussion? Senator Punzel, you've spoken twice, I can't call you. Director Roskowitz.
Yeah, so although I am honored, Senator Punzel, I am for this bill staying the way it is. There has been a lot of people that have earned the emeritus status that I have been here on the Senate floor for, and in the gallery, and a submitter and everything else. And although I'd love to be a part of that group, that is not something that I feel that I have personally earned in my time in this organization. But I want to thank you for making that nomination. However, I will, yeah, yield to the speaker.
Any other discussion? No further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Vote of aye is amending this to be an emeritus resolution. I would change the title, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Madeline Roskowitz, and would add a therefore be finally resolved. And it's essentially, if you look at Abby's, the same thing, but instead of academic affairs director, it's student affairs director. But what I is that to adopt that, amend the legislation to that, with nay, is to keep it as written. You can also pass, abstain, and all that fun stuff. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Janetti,
Pass.
Senator Healy, Senator Hernandez,
What was the vote?
Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Majors. Nay. Senator Punzel. Senator Purnell.
Nay.
Senator Reber.
Nay.
Senator Reyes.
Nay.
Senator Richardson. Senator Schroffnagel.
Nay.
Senator Thompson.
Okay.
Senator Woods.
Nay.
Senator Arnett.
Nay.
Senator Coleman.
Nay.
Senator Janetti.
Nay.
Speaker Rodriguez.
No. I voted 0 to 15 with one abstention. The motion fails. Bring content changes still. Are there other content changes on this legislation? Seeing no content changes, go to clerical items, of which I have one. It's changed SUFAC Chairman Orrin L. Smith to SUFAC Chairman Orrin L. Art Smith. Last name has been changed as Orrin got married.
Thanks.
I'm gonna ask for unanimous consent to make that change. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, it'll be reflected in the final legislation. Is there any other clerical edits? Seeing none, we go into discussion. Is there any discussion that wants to kick us off? Senator Reber.
Ooh, that's always rough. I don't like it. That the whole emeritus conversation is always tricky and rough. But I really, really appreciate everything. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think all of us kind of think that. I really thank you for being there for students in every capacity, it seems like. So I really appreciate it, and I admire what you've done. You've done so much. Thank you.
President-elect Wilson.
Maddie and I do not always agree on everything. But I have never seen someone so committed. When I think about treating campus stewardship in a holistic manner, I think of Maddie Roskowitz. Like everything that Maddie has been a part of, Maddie gives great care to. You can see that through her Greek family. What a tight family. That is what holistic service to campus looks like. When Maddie's in WSG, WSG is stronger. When Maddie's in Alpha Gamma is stronger. That's the kind of service that extends past just what WSG is, and I appreciate you for that, Maddie.
Senator Wells.
Maddie, I've been here for a minute. And ever, like, since first meeting you, you've always just been like somebody that it don't matter if I've known you for 30 seconds or, 30 days or whatever it is. You're such a phenomenal person to be around. You tell it how it is. You are such a phenomenal leader, and I feel like, I don't know, man. I appreciate you. You're so loved, and you've done such a good job. So, thank you.
Senator Thompson.
Just to repeat what Isaiah said, President-elect Isaiah said, you really did build a great community, especially I feel in our Creek fam. I think I can speak for both me and Allison when I say we love our grandma. And you're gonna do amazing things, and we're gonna miss you, and we hope you come visit.
Senator Hernandez.
Yeah, as Maggie touched on before, we met back in fall 22. And I have got to see a lot of her work outside. It's really awesome. I had the pleasure of serving with her on multiple academic exec boards, and she's always just willing to offer a hand and offer ideas. And she's so helpful and kind. And I get to hang out with her on a more personal level as well. And she's just a really great person, and always there for me. And I'll see you on Saturday.
Senator Lang.
Yeah, I just want to agree with everything that's been said, but also I owe a lot to Maddie. If it was not for Maddie, I would never have applied to be homecoming intern, which I now am, and I would never have rushed Greek boards either. So Maddie helped shape a lot of what my college is going to look like, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Chairman Archsmith.
First, I really just want to thank, for those who don't know, the vacancy that Maddie filled in the spring semester was mine. And I could not be more grateful for her willingness to step up and work with me through that transition. As unfortunate as it was, seeing Maddie and Keith really flourish this semester has been lovely to see, and I've been glad to be able to do that. And it's been great. Congratulations on graduating.
Go to the gallery here for Vice Chancellor Power.
Yeah, Maddie and Keaton, really, I just thank you so much for stepping in halfway through the year. I think it's important when we learn as much from you as we're sharing information. You came to all of our meetings prepared to have sometimes harder conversations, and we're always putting students first. What were the concerns about the constituents? How could we help support you? And we just appreciated the great conversation and learning from both of you, really. So thank you for everything.
Associate Director Turner.
Maddie, we haven't known each other very long at all. But you have been had such a big impact on me and helping me learn and grow in the new role that I found myself in. And I appreciated your help every step of the way. I look forward to seeing you continue to grow. I wish you all the best.
Vice President Reiser.
So similar to like what was said during the gala, I think that Doug and I both have really appreciated how you have jumped right in. And we're always putting quality work forward. Like even with, this is a small example, but the spring splash cleanup, you really were advocating for bringing that back. And so I think that's a testament to how detailed and high quality work you always are trying to do. So overall, thank you for everything you've done in WSG, and then just in the office. It's been a pleasure getting to know you through just so thank you.
Any other discussion here? Seeing none. Madam Clerk? So vote of aye to adopt the legislation, or vote of nay to not adopt the legislation. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Gielig,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber. Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson. Senator Schrocknagle.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Warner.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Speaker Patrias.
Aye. All right, unanimous vote of 17-0. R 25-2608, resolution honoring the service of Madeline Rosquest passed unanimously. As is tradition, I'll allow you a few moments here if you wish to say a few words.
Thank you all. Thank you all for also like upholding the org and not just giving me emeritus. I actually really appreciate and respect that. I know that's sometimes like very hard and an awkward conversation, but I'm thankful that you all, peeping myself. But thank you all so much. It's been a great year being back. I guess not quite a year, semester and a half. But yeah, thank you all for doing what you will continue to do for students. Always try to leave something better than the way you found it. So.
Alrighty, with that, we are into item C of new business, start R 25-2609, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Abby Reiser and President Bradley and Vice President Wilson. Or I guess.
Vice President. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who know kind of some of the organizational history, you know that Abby and I started as directors together. And you may also know that she outshined me, was a much better director than I was, and it was obvious. She made me look bad. Abby's had an interesting WSG career, right? And it started with big wins, especially the excused absence policy that Faculty Senate adopted, which some folks no longer realize is a big deal for the Faculty Senate to adopt a policy that's going to impact their classrooms. But Abby was the director of academic affairs, and then for a brief stint became my boss as the vice president under Angelina Izzo. And then Parker and I hired her back to be the director of academic affairs, and now Abby's back as vice president. And when sitting down to write this bill, we thought, how did Abby best impact the student body? Because wherever she went, she did a fantastic job. And so we felt that Abby's most lasting impacts came from her time as the director of academic affairs. And I think Abby would agree. And so this bill is, more than well deserved. I think a lot of us knew that this was coming probably second semester of Abby's first term as a director, just because how well she was knocking out of the park. So I'll read the ending to you. Therefore, be it resolved that the Whitewater Student Government formally recognizes and celebrates Abby Reiser for her exceptional leadership, unwavering advocacy, and meaningful contributions to improving the academic and student experience at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And therefore, be it finally resolved and henceforth be it forever known that upon the passage of this legislation, the signature of the President, and the conferral of her degree, Abby Reiser shall be granted the title of Director of Academic Affairs Emeritus and hereby granted all honors and privileges for which that title bears.
I'm going to tell a little personal story very quickly. I left for a brief time, and while I was gone, I didn't text anybody on campus, pretty intentionally. I kept talking to Doug, and I didn't really talk to many other folks. Assuredly, I did not talk to them about what was going on in student government. And then I heard about the excused absence policy, and I texted Abby. And I said, that's some of the most amazing work I've ever seen. Absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's also worth mentioning that I think because that you hit the ground running in terms of how you demonstrated your stewardship, I don't think, like Doug and I, we kind of talk a lot during these meetings and during other meetings. You don't talk nearly as much as we do. And I think partially because of that, there's nobody whose voice has more institutional respect in the room. When Abby says words, everyone goes like, oh, wait, if I thought I'm going in the right direction, and then Abby said, wait, I think we might not be going in the right direction, I really don't think there's anyone in the room who those words land harder with because of the institutional history you have with what it means to be a good servant leader. So thank you.
With that, we're to questions for this meeting. If there are any questions? Seeing no questions, we'll go into content changes. President Bradley.
I'd like to add Advisor Emeritus Jan Bilgan, sponsor.
Sponsor. Okay. I'll ask for unanimous consent to adopt that. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, that'll be reflected in the final legislation. Adding another sponsor, former two-term Director of Academic Affairs and Speaker Emeritus Justin D. Westlick, asked to be a sponsor on this legislation. So I'll ask for unanimous consent to add that. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, those will be reflected in the final legislation. Senator Reberg. It's been moved. Is there a second? Or yeah, it's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Giannetti. It's been seconded. I'll ask for unanimous consent to add that. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, be reflected in the final legislation. Any other content changes? Seeing no content changes, we're going to clerical edits. Are there any clerical edits? Chairman Art Smith.
I'd ask that someone amend my name again.
Could you repeat that?
I'd ask that someone move to amend my name again.
Ooh, I'll ask for unanimous consent to amend SUFEC Chair Oren L. Smith to SUFEC Chair Oren L. Art Smith. Any opposed? Seeing none, that'll be reflected in the final legislation. I have another content or clerical edit. The T in non-alcohol leadership team is not capitalized. Ask for unanimous consent to reflect that. Is there any opposed? Seeing none. I think that's okay. Any other clerical edits? Seeing no clerical edits, we will go into a discussion. What's the kick us off here?
I would not be here without Vice President Abby Reiser. She was tabling in the purple paint the road or whatever. And I got done painting, went up to the table, had a little conversation. So I'd like to thank you for your contributions to growing my large kingdom.
President Bradley.
We have a photo of that exact moment.
That's true.
Like it framed and put.
We'll get it there, yeah.
Senator Reaper.
I think that was a great ideal of what emeritus should look like, just in general. I mean, every single time we think of, I've heard the excused absence policy talked about so many times, and it's always like when we're talking about something monumentous that someone did, it's always the example that immediately kind of we shoot to. And I think that says a lot about your work and says a lot about your dedication. You do really dedicate yourself to a lot, and everything that you do, it turns out well, and it will always turn out. But to your person, you're an excellent person. You're a really cool person. So that's just on the side note, but I really enjoyed working with you, kind of just being around you. So thank you for.
Advisor Emeritus Billigan, is that wanting to jump into discussion?
Only if there's time, Mr. Speaker.
There's time for you always.
Thank you so much. I come and speak in this way to not influence your vote, of course, because an advisor doesn't do that. But I am here to say, curious, persistent, and I cannot describe to you how long some of the projects that Abby accomplished during her leadership here with WSG were on the books. Like I'm talking longer than all of y'all were in school. And that large service to students was daunting, I think, at sometimes, but she took it piece by piece, and she created so many good relationships with people who really needed to understand the student experience in a way that they weren't able to because of their either position or where they were, whether that was a student or a staff member or an administrator. So thank you, Abby, for that service to your current students and all the students that come after you that will graduate and persist because of the work that you did. Thank you.
Great. Director Linneman? Perfect.
I'll keep it brief, but Abby, oh my goodness. I don't know even where to start with you. Abby was one of the first people who I met, obviously besides like Doug, with joining WSG in fall of 2024, which wow, that sounds like a long time ago. But Abby, right off the bat, was probably one of the most welcoming individuals within this organization, and just made me feel so welcome just because I was very new to it. And she's definitely helped me feel more involved with WSG, and I probably would not be where I am today without her and with her support and always being there for me whenever I needed someone to talk to with advice with WSG or just my personal life in general nowadays. So I'm so thankful that WSG brought me you in my life, and I definitely will never ever forget our crazy conversations that we have and the long life support with you. So love you so much. How you?
Dr. Gross.
Yeah, being able to work just by your side last semester and then with this semester as well, the way that Abby can have a meeting and like we'll go in and all of a sudden by the end of the meeting, it's just there's so much stuff that like we got more information than we ever thought was possible. Over winter when we were constantly calling after those meetings and coming up with game plans, a lot of the time like there's so much behind the scenes planning that happens, and Abby really just knows exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and it's an amazing skill, a skill that I hope to have someday. But just I've learned so much from you, and the fact that you trusted me with this role for this semester is honestly it's a big undertaking and big shoes to fill with you. But I hope that I will have one. And thank you so much for all the work that you've done. Thank you.
President Bradley.
Over a year ago, when Vice President Bain and I were deciding if we were going to rerun, he kind of confessed that he was going to be graduating in December, and he was really nervous that can I leave halfway through and will the org be okay? And I said, Parker, I have a plan. And that plan is Abby Reiser. And I think it's worked out quite well. I think you would all agree. I said she's done it before. She was a good boss. I can attest. I reported to her. But everybody's hit it, the nail directly on the head tonight. We as students are all the better for having Abby Reiser in our corner. We as people are all the better for having known Abby. And I think just over the past, 3.5 years, you've shown that you're not only a great worker in your role, and not only a great vice president and a great director and a great colleague and a great employee, but also just a great friend and a great person. And I cannot think of anybody in this organization who is more deserving of this. And I just thank you for being you. And please keep it up. Don't let this award go to your head.
Lee, discussion. I'll take the last one. I remember now over 2 years ago, having a conversation with someone who I deeply respect, former parliamentarian Blake Irwin. He was like, well, we should really do a bill for Abby to grant her emeritus. I was like, Blake, she graduates just not yet for 2 years still. Like, give her some time to see if she screws us up or so you can have more things to add to it, or she's a sophomore, like give her some time. He's like, well, we can do it, pass it now to when she graduates, confer emeritus. I'm like, okay, if I give her 2 years, you can put more in the bill. But I think that just goes to show that as a sophomore, I don't even know if you would have been eligible for it even, but people were already wanting to confer it to you, and you've had 2 years of successes and triumphs since then. I think that only shows that how strong you are as a person and how strong you are in this role. But with that, Madam Clerk, vote of ayes to adopt the legislation, vote of nays to not. You can also pass, abstain. Any clarifying questions on voting? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll whenever you're ready?
Senator Hernandez. Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reberg.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Werner. Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Geeling.
Aye.
Speaker Patricus.
Aye. And a vote of 17-0. R 25-2609, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Abby Ryberg Kaiser has passed unanimously. You allow you a moment to say a few words if you would.
I just want to say thank you truly. All of the kind words. I'm truly, truly honored. If it were not for WSG, I'm like getting slightly emotional, which I didn't think was gonna happen. I would not be where I am today without WSG. Without all of you, the conversations the late night conversations, that I'll forever remember, even when they're just like small little things. But I remember I came in my freshman year and I was searching for like doing something that felt bigger than myself. And I didn't know, I had been involved in some other things the semester before, and I didn't know, exactly what I was looking for. And then I came into student government and I realized like this is the place that I want to be. And it felt like that purpose I was looking for. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you for continuing that. I found my true passion through student government, and it's because of this place that I'm continuing government work after school too. And so truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. This is truly an honor, and I will forever love student government. So thank you.
With that, we are into item D of new business, R 25-2611, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Kimberly Clarkson. Submitters have the floor, of which I am one. I'll pass the gavel here to Parliamentarian Purnell. Vice Chairman Keaton, or Turner, if he was to.
Sure. Hi, Kim. So, for those of you who haven't caught on, about halfway through this semester, I became the SUFAC chairperson. And that meant working with Kim in a lot of new, amazing ways. Kim also currently oversees the ULEAD program, of which I'm the coordinator. So I have gotten to work a lot with Kim in the last few weeks, and it has been wonderful. So Nick and I together, I think at the same time, we were sitting at an event, and I leaned over to Nick and I went, "Advisor Emeritus?" And Nick went, "Yeah, I think Advisor Emeritus." And we've done that like 3 times since our first like realization of it. So for sure, we were like absolutely Advisor Emeritus for Kim. I've highlighted, I'm not going to read through the whole bill. I've highlighted a few clauses that are the most important parts. So I'm going to read through them, but really do give this a read. Kim has had a huge impact on campus as a whole, not just our organizations, but for every student who's been through here. So whereas Kim Clarkson's more than 23 years of employment at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater reflects her enduring dedication to student success, leadership, and campus engagement. And whereas Kim Clarkson has provided guidance and support to generations of student leaders as an advisor to the Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee since fall 2020, and whereas Kim Clarkson advised the Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee during the passage of the Student Life Advancement Act of 2022, which significantly expanded support for student involvement and engagement. She has served as the advisor to WSG since January, offering support and continuity during a period of organizational transition, and has demonstrated a sustained commitment to student development through mentorship, advising, and support, encouraging students to make informed decisions within the shared governance structure. And then I'm just going to read the end here. Whereas Kimberly Clarkson participated in the establishment and development of university policies and procedures related to student organizations, campus programming, and segregated university fee governance, contributing to practices that continue to support students and campus operations today. And your institutional knowledge and commitment to supporting students has positively impacted generations of Warhawks and strengthened the culture of involvement and leadership at our university. You've had a long-lasting and meaningful impact on access of student governance through your work with both SUFAC and student government. And so therefore, be it finally resolved and henceforth be it known that in recognition of your years of service, mentorship, and commitment to student governance, that we would like to formally confer upon you the title of Advisor Emeritus of the Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee.
If you don't know, I was a member of CFAC for close to 3 years. I think I still technically am. I think I still technically am a member of CFAC. I don't vote anymore, but I was chair most recently for close to a year. Kim was instrumental in me being successful in that role. I would not have been able to do it without Kim and without Nicole or other advisor. And when Jan retired, immediately the talk of advisor emeritus started. And I was like, well, it's that time of the year, end of the semester. I don't think there is any other advisor we currently have more deserving of emeritus than you, Kim. Yeah, I have a lot I could say. But I think to just sum it up in 2 words, it's thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. I was on Zubek for a year, and I don't think I could like the other two. I couldn't have done it without you. There's no way. I mean, there's almost no one that I've met in this world that has more knowledge about viewpoint neutrality than you do. And I appreciate that so much. Every time we would get into a bad situation, every time we kind of started veering off to the wrong course, you knew exactly what to do. You knew who to call. You've been in those rooms before. You know exactly what to do. And I appreciated that so much. And then moving to vice chair when we did a bunch of policy work that I truly didn't even feel like I should have been a part of because I'm just a kid. But I appreciate you so much. I really do. You helped us throughout the whole way. And I know that's your job as an advisor, but you definitely treated it more like not like a job. You really excelled at it. And I really, really appreciate you and all that you've done. So thank you.
Kim, thank you so much for all that you've done. I joined the organization SUFAC last spring, so I was kind of thrown into it out of the blue. And you, among others, have been such a nice guiding force in that process as I've come to better understand the role. So thank you so much for all you've done.
I just want to add one last thing is that I really wanted in this bill to empower or to highlight how Kim's advisorship, like one thing I've learned a lot in the last year of my program has been the different types of advisor you can be. And if there's one word I could use for the feeling that Kim really leaves with her students, it's empowerment. Kim, I have not once left a meeting with Kim feeling anything less than empowered to face whatever challenge I am dealing with. I am always given a plethora of tools to use or ideas to approach the issues I have. And that can be with SUFAC, that can be with something entirely unrelated to Kim's job at all that just came up in one of our one-on-ones, which I think is a hallmark of being an advisor, especially for our organization. But I really wanted to emphasize that feeling of empowerment that Kim really leaves all of us with.
I don't know if I formally recognized her yet, but Advisor Emeritus Jan Bilgan is a submitter on this legislation. The first one, I believe she's been on in close to 40 years. So
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kim's not looking at me. That's okay. I was teasing. This is the hardest thing for her to have and hear, y'all. I come to you to share with you, to celebrate and agree with everything that I've heard and everything that everyone is thinking in the room. But I would share with you from a colleague perspective of the SUFAC process for a professional staff member on our campus. If you are dedicated to a shared governance concept and empowering students to do that work and make up their own minds, is in excess of 90 hours in about 2 weeks' time. And I'm not going to say Kim did it without getting tired, because that would make you an even bigger superhero than you already are. But she did so at great cost to herself, to her time with her family, but she did so out of love, dedication, and professionalism. And that's something to be admired, to be emulated, and to be appreciated. So for someone who saw that from both sides, and kept me sane when there are student government fun things and when there are SUFAC fun things going on, and how those two organizations have to work together in order to best serve students. Her partnership was also so much appreciated from the chair that I sat in, and I'm glad that it was really a love seat and not two separate work chairs. So thank you, Kim, and thank you for everything that you've given and that you continue to give in your wonderful career.
With that, Mr. Parliamentarian, we yield.
We are on to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we are on to content changes. Are there any content changes? Seeing none, we are on to clerical edits.
I really thought I could go without. A lot of people saw this, but I missed one. And therefore be it resolved, should read: the Whitewater Student Government, on behalf of the student body of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, formally expresses its deepest gratitude to Kimberly Clarkson for her continued dedication to student involvement and her lasting contributions to the student experience. Just adding student body of the.
All right, I am asking for unanimous consent to make a change. Are there any opposed? Seeing none, change has been made. Any other clerical edits? Seeing none, we are on to discussion. Director Gross.
Yeah, so I'm not a part of SUFAC, but I still just, this job you've done as the advisor for student government and the impact you've had on my job as a director has really been great, from us watching the Brewers scores on your phone during meetings, go Brewers, planning for the instructor award. I think I was more stressed than you were, and after every single meeting, I left there and I was like, all right, we have a game plan, and it felt really good, and just all the support you've given me this entire year has been amazing, and thank you so much.
Senator Majors.
I met Kim not through WSG originally. I met Kim through SAI and my work at the front desk. I'm gonna be real honest. When I first met Kim, she terrified me. But I soon realized that the fear that she struck into me was because she cared about her student, the students she represents. Kim, a few days ago actually, told me that she had a suspicion that this was coming, but she wasn't sure how she felt about it. But I can't say anything more than she really does deserve this. She's always cared about the students that she served, especially through SAI. If we ever felt that we needed time to study, she would tell us to clock out and go study. She helped me when I was struggling with my chemistry exams. She definitely was helpful there. Kim deserves this more than I think a lot of people. Not that everyone else doesn't deserve it, but Kim really does deserve this. She's done so much, not only for WSG, but SUFAC, but she also has done so much for all the students she has served throughout her entire career.
Senator Wells.
I have not known Kim for nearly as long as everybody else has. I sort of showed up to SUFAC one day and I was like, hey gang. She was like, hey. And I could not ask for somebody better for me to get thrown into this position with. Kim is truly incredible. Whether you've been with her for years or just, the past month and a half like I have, you are an absolute stellar advisor. You make it so easy to go to those meetings and to be able to speak up about something. You're very, like I said to Maddie earlier, you tell it how it is, which is really, really awesome. And I really admire that about you. And I am so glad that I got to step into this opportunity, having you to sort of guide me.
Senator Hernandez.
Yeah, I also met Kim through SAI. I started as a Greek intern in the fall, and there was a lot of change of positions, and Kim was always there to help us when we needed, and I really appreciate that, especially with Greek Week. There was a lot going on during Greek Week. I don't want to talk about it. Such big support. And when Lydia and I were like running around like chickens with our heads cut off, she was there to ground us and just to provide support. And it was so neat. I'm so thankful for that because, again, it was an interesting week. But yeah, she has always just been there to help, especially with my Connect 2. AlphaGam uses Connect 2 now for everything. So if AlphaGam doesn't like that, they can talk to Kim. But I just really appreciate all your support and everything you just make working in SAS such a fun place to be.
Vice President Weiser.
So I think that your leadership style is admirable. I think that in not just SUFAC, but everything, you bring this like calm but like confident energy where in SUFAC where like there are the long meetings, sometimes it can be tough or stressful conversations, but you were always so like kind of even keeled, you could say. Like, so I think that that is a trait to look up to. And that goes back to also like the institutional knowledge. So overall, thank you for your dedication to helping students.
Speaker Rodriguez.
The university is better off having you here. And I'm very happy that you're not going anywhere and that I can still bug you when I need to next year. I'm gonna have to go upstairs, but I am very happy that I will still be able to do that. But you've been a role model of mine, whether you know it or not. And I can't say enough how appreciative I am. I hope this is like at least a little bit can show you how appreciative I am of what you've done for me.
Director Rosquist.
Just want to echo all the amazing things that have already been said. I also had the privilege of working in SAI this past school year with Kim as one of the homecoming interns. So having Kim there to help and support and just, oh my gosh, she basically did all my buckets the week of. I will never forget that. We like sat there and we were like piling stuff and getting it all ready for homecoming. And it is truly a different animal that you don't realize is even coming towards you during homecoming, and having Kim there to help was just amazing, and couldn't have done it without her. But that's just goes to show the type of leader, advisor, individual she is. She cared deeply about me and my co-chair. You know, she even said like, "Have you ate today? I don't think you ate today." And then she like made me go get food, and like I truly didn't. I didn't eat for like 2 days. I was so busy, but like Kim saw like past not just the person. She saw the person, not what needed to be done, and cared deeply about the individual. And yeah, I couldn't thank you enough, Kim. It's been so fun to work with you in different capacities throughout my time here. very deserving.
Chair Art Smith?
Sorry, wow, that was louder than I thought it was going to be. I've spent a lot of time in the last year thinking about the type of professional I want to be in higher education and the impact I want to leave on my students. And when I first was writing my admissions letter for grad school and all that, I was talking about wanting to be the next Jan Bilgin, right? Have the next effect on students that way. But certainly, I think the more I look at it and the more I learn about myself and the more that I learn about our campus, it's totally split in half. Like Kim, you are such a role model for me. I want to be a professional like you are someday. Like that has truly become one of my goals. And I just really want to highlight what an impactful and impressive role model you are. While I think that certainly the roles I filled I could have filled without the support of such an amazing advisor, I don't think I would have grown as much in those roles, and I don't think our campus would have benefited as much.
Senator Rupert?
Right, Kim, I wanted to say something about you as a person. Like genuinely, a lot of people are focusing on work, and I love that with you because you've done so much for us and so much for the students. But we gotta recognize you as a person too. You're so great. When I first joined SUFAC, when I joined WSG, I was like, okay, I can vote on bills and stuff. I feel comfortable doing that. Giving away students' money, I don't know. And I was like, ooh, this is really important. And you made me feel like I deserve to be in that room. And I think that's really a testament to your character. You make everybody deserve to feel like they should be at the table. And I just needed to say that before we ended this.
Clerk West?
I guess I don't have much to you SUPAC related, but for the semester, I only really ever spoke to you or met you when I had to make the ballot on Connect with you. And I kind of follow up with some other people said, I was a little intimidated by you, but you end up being like the nicest human being ever. And I appreciate you so much for helping, especially throughout the semester and with all the not funniness, the funsies of the elections and just being there whenever I needed help. So thank you.
President Bradley?
One of the most challenging things I've had to navigate as a student body president is trying to figure out how we were going to replace the gap that was caused by Jen Bilgin leaving. And I remember spending hours and hours trying to write a list of what an advisor has to do, meeting with executive tier leaders about what does it mean to be WSG advisor, and meeting with folks in this room about like how do we make sure we support somebody. And really, I don't think we needed to spend all that time because you've done it just so well. You stepped in to, support us. I cannot think of somebody who I would want more to come, fill in for Jan and help us out as we navigate the end of the school year. And I think your selflessness is best described by how often your son's around, right? You are a mother, you do have a job, you do have a family, but you're still here supporting us. And we get to see Noah on occasion. And I think that just shows all of us how dedicated you are. And so I thank you for not only stepping in, but being a good friend and a good mentor to so many people in this room and across campus.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will have the last little bit. Kim, I think that you have done a great job stepping up here. I haven't worked with you much for SUFAC, but I've worked with you a little bit for WSG, and I think that I think you really have gone above and beyond in your job. I mean, just in one of the first few weeks of you being the advisor here, you sent me an email of asking me a question about our rules. So it's just I'm incredibly thankful for all the work that you do. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we are on to a vote. A vote of aye will pass the legislation. It will award the title of advisor of the segregated university fee allocation committee to Advisor Clarkson. A vote of nay will, Madam Clerk, when you are ready, would you please read the roll?
Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Freeberg.
Aye.
Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Wells. Aye. Senator Werner. Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Geelig. Senator Hernandez. Aye. Speaker Patricus.
Aye.
In a vote of 17-0, I would like to congratulate our newly awarded emeritus advisor, Kim Clarkson.
As we've done all night, Advisor Artist, if you wish to say a few words, you have the floor.
I'm sure you can see my skin tone, I'm rather red. I cannot tell you what you've shared today means to me, especially at this time of year when we're all just a little more tired and have to give just a little bit more, right? Stress is higher for students right now and you're all trying to wrap it up strong. And I want to be there for you, and I'm also just as tired as all of you. So what you've said today really has made a huge impact on my heart. And at a time when there's so much change going on in my work world, I think it couldn't have come at a better time to help me as I'm moving forward with all the changes that are coming to our office and the people I work with. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to work with you, all of you, to watch disagreement in action is done in a way that is for the good of students. We don't see that a lot. We see a lot of people hiding behind a facade rather than really sharing what they truly believe. So this is a space where we get to see the real action take place, and then you walk it afterwards. So I'm very proud to have been a part of both SUFAC and student government. And I'm still here and I'll still help. And if anyone else thinks that I am intimidating, remember this moment in time. But also please know that whatever you need for the rest of your time here and beyond, I'll be here.
I'm really upset you sniffed me out. I thought I was being so sneaky with this.
To ask you what year I started advising. And
I'm glad to keep up on for CPAC rosters, but I hope this will serve as a replacement for the one on your wall already. But that one. I'm gonna ask for a quick 3-minute recess here, just so we can all recapitulate here before we get into appointments. Any opposed? Seeing none, we will reconvene in 3 minutes.
Insert the finger.
Oh, I dressed up.
I'm honestly just so sad.
That's okay. Literally, you said like, see, this is the. If I didn't like.
We gotta get some.
I was so in you.
No, that's going on.
5 questions.
I feel like there's your legs. I love your
Majority for all. I hate operations.
From Dave.
But you have some more actually. Like.
It's on the west side?
The Iowa side. The way doesn't say no, we had some pretty green. I know, I was like.
So like area.
My work life and my personal life. Everything like.
I'm perfect, yeah.
You guys get over 10 minutes. It's like, so much.
I'm sure. Yeah.
They take my.
Yeah, I'm full Wisconsin. You know, like players. Yeah, so I'm also very big. So I actually chose here because like there's a women's house. Thank you for. I didn't teach for the summer and like I was just busy with it. And then August. Oh, I didn't bring like. So I picked your. You know, I guess I'm staying. So. Really?
Yeah, so then I leave and I'm in the purple sorority, so it's
Yeah.
like purple.
Are you? So.
I'm a double major and studies in political science. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a 3.
And I think it's get worse. Just because this is what we have for executive only elevating. When they get worse.
Really?
That's really bit. Like,
So free.
but I don't know, I've never really known anything else besides the visiting. But I don't know any criminal law. It's good to know what the expectations, right?
Okay, I feel like a lot of people I talk to, like, want to be lawyers because they watch like a show, like Suit or something like that. Yeah.
Say at least well enough. That's kind of my persona. Sometimes I do so. I'm really excited to take the LSAT. No, you're good. You're good. Do my first class. That's gonna be like.
Yeah, that's like.
Get your ass out.
I'm screwed. Like, I'm actually screwed. I'm screwed.
Yeah, it's my.
Yeah.
Dynamic was supposed to be.
I see the vision.
Oh yeah, we can be a shit.
Make a lot of sense.
Oh.
That's more than.
I had
Yeah.
to say they haven't. Sorry.
Save an account. I can't do this. I'm gonna. That's what you can't agree. That's me. Like,
You know what we're talking about? I think we were back here like. Yeah, like. Sorry, we're up there. We're up there.
I know. I think it's not.
I gotta get out of here. I actually, so that's not funny. So that makes me super angry.
7:42, and we are back to order.
Yeah.
We do have a quorum.
Yeah.
And I do have a signature from the president on the Executive Board Alignment Act. So with that, we're on item E of new business confirmation vote on the appointment of the operations lead, Olivia Gross. President-elect Wilson, and you have the floor.
Wonderful. Good to be here with you all yet again tonight. There was something I had not calculated. So when you're running for student body president, you have a team of people who sort of support the things that you're talking about, who want to see you get elected, who help in that mission. We had lots of student organizations endorse us and folks in this room help out with the work. And then you get elected as student body president and vice president if you're lucky enough. And the campaign team celebrates a little bit. And then it's just the two of you again. And it's a hard moment to calculate because there's still so much work. You still got to hire a team. And in that interim, Liv has been amazing. Liv helped draft the foundation for what you all passed earlier tonight. Liv is on top of her stuff. When we started to formulate what this position looked like, we built it together, the three of us. And it's because of that I don't think there could be a better fit for it than Liv. Liv is a great manager of tasks and a great manager of people, and I think that is integral to the role. I think Liv has a certain way of making people feel heard when you're speaking, of making people feel safe in the space that they occupy with her, and I can't wait to get to work with her next year. So if Liv wants to say anything, you're more than welcome, but otherwise.
Sorry, I'm a bit shorter than you, so I had to move that down. Yeah, I'm honestly really excited for this role as operations lead. I think there is a lot of big and exciting changes and ideas and plans that we have for next year that I'm really excited about. But with all those big and exciting movement, there's a lot of small nitty-gritty stuff that needs to happen. And with that, that's where I kind of picture this role coming in, where it's making sure that everything that needs to happen gets done correctly, and gets done at the right time. And that is something I've definitely learned quite a lot with my role this year with associate and then director of academic affairs, and just making sure that everything we want to get done next year gets done next year. It's seems like a long time, but then when you break it down, it's very short, and the stuff we want to get done, you got to cram it in there. So, but yeah, I'm very excited for this opportunity.
All right, I should have set some ground rules. I apologize. On each of the confirmations, we'll have an introduction. We'll do 5 questions, up to 5 questions. They can be asked to either party, either the candidate or the president-elect. And we'll do a roll call vote. These are all a simple majority to. So, and then they all take office July 1. But with that, are there any questions on the appointment of the operations lead? Commentary for now.
Why was the decision made to appoint Olivia Gross before appointing her as the director of academic affairs, seeing as she hasn't appointed yet? Additionally, what role will the vice president serve in this operations?
Do you mean what role did Paige play in hiring Liv, or what role did Paige play in the spot on the agenda, or what role did Paige, or what role will Paige play? Okay, wonderful. So to the first question, I told the speaker what positions we wanted to confirm. We put them on the agenda. So that's that one. But in terms of why we chose Liv, a lot of what I spoke to earlier, and in terms of kind of what the dynamic between the three of us will be, I think I can speak a lot to what our process was like this spring so far. I'm going to split the difference between the two of us. So when Liv talks about some of the nitty gritty, I think vice presidents of past have engaged in work that looks a lot like office management or gala planning. And I think that while those are important things that need to get done, and the gala being a success this year was like integral to allowing us to have some more funds as we engage in the important work of helping students. I think that in terms of what role Paige and I will play, it's being more lateral than in past. And it's because of the great work that Liv is going to do in that space, allowing us to do more reach outs, allowing us to. I just had a wonderful conversation with the gentleman who advises the Royal Purple earlier today. It's making conversations like that. And when we talk about what Paige and I will do next year, it's thinking as lateral as possible, finding gaps in the institution that can be filled by our team. And I'm excited to put together a strong team. And I think in terms of what Liv is going to do, we all voted on it earlier, but I guess if you want the minutia, I can get into that too.
What do you mean by lateral?
Yeah. So when I say lateral, I think often the work of the student body president and vice president, but really student body president has been very vertical. So you're oftentimes pulled into what I call the trees as opposed from being in the forest. So imagine you're flying a helicopter, right? And if you were flying that helicopter in between trees, you would have a hard time going to the left or to the right because you'd be in a forest. But if you rose above the trees, you have not only better visibility, but better ability to move to the left and to the right. So when I say lateral, I'm talking about collaborations with other organizations. I'm talking about finding blind spots that might exist in campus. So things like creating special advisorships to the president, I think that's an example of lateral thinking. Lateral thinking just means an ability to get out of an established box.
Senator Lang.
How would you compare to, I guess, balance the time struggle between being operations lead, academic affairs director, and a full-time student?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest strengths is my time management. I always joke around in interviews whenever they ask my time management. I say that I use every single color on Outlook calendar. I keep a very well and detailed calendar. And with that, a lot of that also comes with blocking out my time, even so like outside of class, like obviously you block out class, but then like I block out times to be a student and go hang out with my friends or times to study. And then I block out time for WSG. And so being sure, looking at my schedule for next year, making sure that I block out specific times just so people know, all right, Liv's going to be in the WSG office on Fridays in the morning. So that's why, which might be next year. Well, no, I don't know. But just so that ways for people to better be able to access me and for times for me to have times blocked out for those specific kind of tasks, just separating them and then blocking out. Does that make sense? Oh.
Senator Coleman.
So I'm a big fan of data and statistics. So I'm wondering if you've, in regards to your outcomes and milestones that you hope to achieve, have you aligned any metrics or estimates as to numbers in which you hope to achieve these outcomes?
I mean, in terms of, are you asking about our agenda next year, like how we intend to deliver on some of those promises, or are you asking about, because we took a I would say relatively more data informed approach to the e-board restructuring this year than I think other folks have in past. I got a lot of the early foundation for the work that we wanted to do. I'm gonna shout her out because she wouldn't mind. Christine Hoover was a professor of mine last year. She was my leadership management professor, and I got some really interesting adjacency to some interesting coursework about different leadership structures. So you heard me in like week 1 or 2 of the bill, or I guess what was week 1, but the second week of week 1 or whatever, talk about different approaches, spokes on the wheel approach, stuff like that. And a lot of that kind of data, I don't know if you'd call it data, but leadership management theory informed what this position would look like.
Do you have a follow-up? Or parliamentarian Brunel?
As we were passing legislation for this today, we talked a lot about sort of trying this out. And a part of trying something out is the possibility that it might not work. What is your plan in the event that this position doesn't?
That's a great question. My plan is to pivot. Yeah, I think if things don't work, you shouldn't waste time doing them. I think that's part of being a good leader is recognizing. I want to make very clear, I have not particularly used the language of trying. I think other folks have. In some certain way, everything is trial. I think what's most important, and I've told some of the folks who are hopefully to be appointed later tonight to stick around a bit after the meeting, and hopefully get some time on their schedules this week so that we can talk about as a team what the most effective structure we can build to make sure that the work we want to complete gets done is. And I think making sure that we take a collaborative approach to that is going to make sure that hopefully we don't have to pivot. But if calamity happens, there's no better people I trust than the team that we're building to pivot.
All right, and then Senator Lay, our last question.
You talked a lot about how you want to move things in a more lateral direction. So could we hear from both of you how you plan to keep, or like what you plan to keep the same?
I mean, I can start. What do we plan to keep the same? I've talked a little bit about my kind of WSG philosophy every now and again, and it breaks down into two categories. And I'll keep this quick because I realize I talk long. One of those categories is stewardship, and one of those categories is ground up initiatives. And I think in terms of what we plan to keep the same, I have seen outstanding stewardship take place in this organization for years. I think Doug is a phenomenal steward of his office. I hope to be as good a steward as Doug is in terms of advocating for student concerns when he's in the rooms and he's asked. And I hope to instill that across the entire team. We are going to continue delivering A+ stewardship as an organization. Where I think there's still meat on the bone is in some of those ground up initiatives. And we're going to keep those the same in terms of the way we start doing them. We're going to nail them, hopefully. And if we don't, we'll pivot.
Alrighty. With that being 5 questions,
I think Liv had.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I guess also to answer your question, I think a lot of what I've been hearing concerns about this role with the vice presidency is that kind of it's causing this divide between president, vice president, and e-board. And I just want to say that my idea and my goal for this position is to not have that. There is still going to be one-on-ones with directors, and that obviously is going to be with the operations lead, but then also with the vice president as well. I know Paige and I have talked in depth about this, but I just wanted to say that's a big thing that is going to stay the same. I know it was a lot of concerns about that, and so that is going to stay the same. The way that e-board is going to interact with the Senate is most definitely probably going to stay also the same as well. So a lot of things on like the outside is going to look and feel very much the same. Inside, there might be like slight shakeups of just kind of like, oh, we put the plates in a different cupboard, but the plates are still there. I don't know if that was a good metaphor. It just kind of came.
Our team's got good analogies, I feel like.
There's something in the team with metaphors. Is that a? Okay, never mind. All right. The question on the floor is confirming Olivia Gross as operations lead to start July 1. Just one of ayes to confirm, one of nays is to not. You have some pass abstain. Any clarifying questions on that vote? All right. Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Nay.
Senator Reberg.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Werner.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Keelig.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Lang.
Aye.
Speaker Patrigues.
All right. All right, a vote of 16 to 1. The Olivia Gross as operations lead has been confirmed. And with that, we're into item F of new business, confirmation vote on the appointment of the Director of Academic Affairs, Olivia Gross.
We have the ability to keep this one slightly briefer than last time because we're both still standing up here. But I will kind of lean on Liv's experience. Doug reminds me very frequently, President Bradley reminds me very frequently that I've never been a director. And what that means is that I have to have a very specific relationship with the folks who we're going to hire. And the experience that Liv has amassed in her role, I think learning from Abby a lot as well. It's something that I'm going to lean on in terms of, I think it also speaks to why Liv makes such a great operations lead, now that she will be. You know, Liv is someone who I can trust a lot. And that trust is super important in the academic affairs space as well as you navigate individual student concerns. So I don't think there's anyone better for the role, but you're going to hear that a lot tonight. You can.
I will also try to keep this brief. I've been up here for a little while, but I just really wanted to touch on academic affairs and kind of my goals for it for the upcoming year. So with that, my biggest thing that I really want to look at is affordability. There is two sort of projects I've been working on for a little bit here. The first one is a possible partnership with United Way, where we're hoping to host a Techquity event or a couple Techquity events here on campus, where we can possibly distribute around 600 laptops to the student body. And these laptops are free of charge. So hopefully, fingers crossed, still working in the process of working on that. But that should hopefully be in the fall. Additionally, with affordability, it is looking at those additional course fees. With the work that Abby and I were doing this fall, this winter, I looked at a bunch of different. I think I went through A to, I think I was near M or N of all the majors and looking at every single course requirement and which ones had fees and which ones didn't. And there were so many majors out there that had just additional fees to them. And so really looking at those and figuring out, okay, what are these fees exactly going to? And what ways can we possibly alleviate some of that? Because, well, $25 per class, like every once in a while, seems like not that much, but that's like 3 drinks from like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks that I'm sure we would all really love to have here at finals. So yeah.
Okay, are there any questions I'll have to call out? Ask. What experience do you have in the world of academic affairs as it relates to student government?
Yeah, of course. So honestly, like, you know, being the associate director of academic affairs last semester and the director of academic affairs this semester, I think that is pretty good experience, you know, with the Whitewater Student Government, which is the representative body of the students of Whitewater. In these academic decisions. So I think that does definitely give me the experience needed for this role.
Chairman Art Smith.
If there was one thing you wish everyone knew about the work you do in academic affairs, what would it be?
Oh, that is so hard. And it's something I've been trying to figure out how to phrase into one sentence. I think the biggest thing is that academic affairs is a lot of more of the behind the scenes, but a crucial work to students. With student affairs, it is the stuff that you see and interact with. It is dining halls, it is housing. However, the food can still be bad, but if the academics are bad and you can't graduate, that is the big thing. You're here to learn and you're here to get an education. Obviously, I don't mean to diss on student affairs. Student affairs does a lovely job, but a lumpy bed does not ban you from graduating. Issues with courses does. So I think it's more so just recognizing that while a lot of the work is behind the scenes and a lot of the work we take for granted is really crucial to your experience here as a student, and it's work that we should definitely be focusing on and really diving in depth with.
There's no more questions. I'll have the final one here. Most important one of the night, some might say. If you could be any tool in a toolbox and why, what would you be?
Oh shoot, I always get the name wrong with this one. No. I also think that this is the first time I've been asked on the floor out of all the times I've been up here, as a senator twice and director last year. But I would be a Swiss Army knife. That's the little one with all the little tools. Perfect. I once called it an Allen wrench in front of my father, and he was greatly disappointed. But anyways, I would be a Swiss Army knife. And the reason I say that is I have a bunch of different fun, little unique experiences that on their own can seem kind of irrelevant, like, why do I need a nail file here? But all together, it packs a really nice tool to have in the back of your pocket when you are in a pinch. So I think that definitely explains me and my leadership style quite well.
Alrighty. Seeing no further questions, we will go into a roll call vote. Vote of aye.
Nice job.
To confirm Olivia Gross as Director of Academic Affairs. Nay is not. Madam Clerk, Wood, whenever you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber. Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Schrocknagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Wells. Aye. Senator Werner. Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti. Senator Keeling.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Speaker Patricus.
Aye. All right, and a vote of 16-0. I want to congratulate Olivia Gross, who will be our next academic affairs director. Alrighty, with that, we are into item G, confirmation vote on the appointment of the Director of Student Affairs, Haley Gamhoff. That's it. Yeah. Perfect.
Alrighty.
You have the floor.
Well, I started Liv's first confirmation vote with a story, so I'll go into a story here as well. We interviewed Daly for the position of student engagement. When we posted, she applied for a different position, and she interviewed for a different position. So you may be asking, why is Daly standing next to me now with this title? She left the room, and in about, I don't know, 7 seconds, Paige and I turned to each other and went, "Whoa, that was pretty wild." Daly, as I'm sure you'll find out through your questions or what she's about to say, balances quite a lot. And it's rare that you can use the analogy of spinning plates and have that not end in disaster. But oh my gosh, is Daly spinning plates and getting A's everywhere. Daly is an A player in Greek life. Daly is an A player in her academic space. She wants to go on to be a lawyer. I'll let her kind of do the resume portion, but we have a ton of work to do in the student affairs space. And when it came to making a decision about who we want to lead that work, we needed somebody who we knew had a great ability to think on their feet when they're in a hard conversation with executive tier leadership. We needed somebody who had the ability to manage initiatives and deliver when we asked of them. And follow through is the most important thing that you can have in somebody like that. And I once heard self-confidence described as being able to turn around and look at your past experiences as a stack of undeniable proof that you can perform. And Daly's loaded with a sack of undeniable proof that she will do wonderful at the job. So I don't think there's a better person for the role, but I'll let her tell you.
Hi, everyone.
I'm a little bit taller than the last people. So, thank you all for having me here today. I am new to the WSG space, so this is pretty intimidating, but at the same time, you all have made me feel very comfortable, and I want to thank Isaiah for that, especially, and Paige as well. So I am a sophomore. I'm a double major in legal studies and political science, and then I also have a paralegal certificate. And through those classes, I was able to meet Olivia, who essentially talked me into applying, but also my GBIG through my sorority, Sigma Sigma Sigma. Well, my GGBIG is Angelina Izzo. So she also said, daily go for it. It's something that is going to be unforgettable, but something that you can also take and run with, essentially. So as Isaiah said, I did apply for the student and Greek life position. So when he called me and said that they thought this was a better fit for me, I quickly went to the student affairs homepage and went through everything that they offered. And the one part to me that stood out was not only is it the Greek life and the uncomfortable beds and the food, but it's also the Veteran Center and the Pride Center and the counseling services. And one thing that I do want to add to this position is having the outreach with the students that they know those are available for them to use and have as resources. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking for this, but I'm very excited.
Alrighty, up to 5 questions. And Rapunzel with the first one.
There's gonna be a question for candidate Damhoff. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
You specifically mentioned veteran services as a resource you want to get people to know more about. How do you intend on going about that?
Right. So 2 of my bestest friends are actually active in the military and they don't even know what is available for them. And I believe that students do get emails from the recruiters pretty frequently, but being able to provide those services and we can introduce them at sessions of SOAR or even on the application pages for the students. I've mentioned that implementation of a lot of programs should be offered at SOAR. I know that when I was a student, I didn't know of half of the resources through student affairs that were available. So I believe that at tours and SOAR and even in new student seminar and also first year experiences, we can implement those things.
We didn't talk about that, but I think that is the kind of answer that speaks to exactly why we picked Daly. I assume she didn't have that answer prepped and didn't think you were going to ask that question. And just in the dining space over the last week, we've seen data around what introducing nutrition options and like finding students with allergies at SOAR has done to improving the number of usages for our nutrition services with summer. And off the top of Daly's head, she just said, I think a great solution that can be data informed, which is something that the chancellor prioritizes, that will likely see an impact. And she mentioned an actual constituent interaction, right? It happens to be 2 of her friends, but still, I think all of the important parts of both stewardship and initiative building were just demonstrated in Daly's answer. And I don't want that to be missed because I think it's important.
Senator Lang was our second.
Being a director is no small task in either workload or time expected, especially for someone who's new to our org. So, what is your plan for time management with WSG and all of your other outside commitments?
Right. So as Isaiah mentioned, I am spinning plates, and I would say I'm spinning plates on a tightrope because of how involved I am. In my sorority, I hold 2 positions, and then I'm also a peer mentor. I have an on-campus job, and then I'm also on the PHCE board. I too have very, very good time management, and I prefer to stay busy. I think that is my biggest accomplishment, is that I would rather be busy than be laying in my dorm room by myself. So being involved on campus is truly a blessing, and continuing to stay involved and then dip my toes into water that they haven't been in before is something that I'm very excited to do, and just be able to broaden my horizons and add something else to my very colorful as well Outlook calendar is something I'm very excited for.
Senator Coleman.
Through your lens, why is it essential to foster a culture that intersects diverse experiences with cultural awareness?
Right. So this is a very good question. I actually talked about in my interview with Isaiah and Paige is that when we look at things through a cultural and diverse lens, there are experiences that not all of us have had before, and we must approach those with respect. And getting to know our student body and what they are here for and what their background is something that is very rise this a little bit, is very important because we all have different experiences that make us who we are as a student body, especially Whitewater is not the most diverse place. We know this, but creating an environment where we know that we all can fit together and work together as one is something that's very important, in my opinion.
One of our questions, I guess, our interviews were pretty conversational with lots of our candidates, and the place that our conversation with Daly took us was particularly the Greek space is filled with so many unique traditions, with so much unique culture, and at a PWI, right? It's pretty often that if you're involved in a Greek space, if you're a white person, you're looking at white people. If you're an IFC, that's just what the data would suggest to us. And there are other councils that don't have that same makeup. And one of the questions we asked Daly is, how do you navigate that space? And we were blown away by, I think, the way she answered with grace and that she wants to lean into learning about different cultures, creating a culture of being an ally in places where folks feel like they need one. So.
Director Rosquist.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of moving parts of student affairs. I've heard you describe it as plates. People say buckets. Sometimes it really just depends on the analogy. But kind of the Greek life space has really been something that we've been trying to work. I believe our term we've been using is elevate. So how would you elevate not only Greek life, but student involvement on campus? So those are big elements of that.
Right. So I think everyone should be a part of Greek life. It truly is my home. But one thing I really want to emphasize is that Greek life is for everyone. I feel like a lot of people do have a stereotype of people who are in Greek life, but we do have to remember Greek life is not just IFC and PHC. There's also academic Greek life. There's the, I believe, many different multicultural sororities and fraternities. There's also sexuality-based fraternities, identity-based fraternities and sororities. And that's something that I want to bring together as a group and as a Greek community because we are all brothers and sisters and Whitewater is our home base for all of that. So being able to have the outreach with the students that you are accepted in this community and we want you to come as you with your experiences is something that I believe the Greek community should have as an outreach factor to new students, returning students, and everyone in between.
President Bradley with our final question.
It sounds like you're quite involved spinning plates. Having been a previous director of student affairs, obviously it can be, especially when I was involved, not as involved as you, but still involved. Are you prepared to make being a WSG director your priority second only to academics and your well-being?
I am, yes.
Alrighty, that being 5 questions, we'll go into a roll call vote. Vote of ayes to confirm Daly Damhoff as our next director of student affairs. Vote of nay is to not. Any clarifying questions on that vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll whenever you are ready.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Riebert.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Pass.
Senator Werner.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Gielig. Senator Hernandez.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Nay.
Senator Wells.
Nay.
Senator Gielig.
Aye.
Speaker Patricus.
Aye. And a vote of 12-4. I want to congratulate Daly Damhoff on being who will be our next director of student affairs. Alrighty, with that, we're into item H, confirmation vote on the appointment of the Associate Director of Student Affairs, Luke
We
Schroffenheimer.
should get this out of the way early. It seems to be moving like higher and higher on me. So Paige and I, as we started the process, and Liv was also a part of it, we would go through each position and create these bullet points. And we would say, this directorship needs this. We didn't want to, we've said throughout the entire process that we're going to hire the best people. And what that meant is that we could not start at a place where we were thinking of people. We had to start of a place where we were thinking of, if you could build a director of blank in a box, what would fill that box? And under the associate director position, follow through was huge. An ability to demonstrate that you can show up at a place and do it, right? And I think I would say that could I get personal about how our interview went just a little bit? Is that okay? I think for the last couple weeks, the Senate has felt different than it has in past. Our meetings have gone very long, and I think that there is reason to be worried about how we engage in the work looks. And Luke said, you know, I'm feeling like I'm not able to reach my max because of the structure of our meetings, the way they're going. It feels like we're circling around concepts that we've already touched, feelings that I'm sure many of you have felt as we've gone through these meetings. And what we then spent the rest of our interview talking about is how excited he will be to pivot into a space of delivering, of seeing the problems that we put in front of him and delivering on them. We've talked a lot about sort of what our new student affairs outlook looks like, and it's not very different in terms of like pure structure or bullet points that we've drawn under those, but in terms of how Liv and Paige and I see it, the associate director is somebody who needs to be able to maybe be in less meetings, maybe they don't need to have as much of an authority over the narrative of how WSG interacts with exec tier leadership, but we need to be able to trust that when we give them something, it's done. And that is the feeling we got leaving Luke's interview. And for those of you who I think have worked with Luke in places that Luke is passionate, I'm sure it's the feeling that he's instilled in you too. So I think, you know, as I've been saying the entire time, we're going to hire the best people. I don't think there's a better person for the job than Luke Schroffenheimer.
Yeah, first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luke, as many of you already know. I'm super excited for this position because it's a new chapter for me going into next year. There's a lot on the plate, and I'm really excited about this one. If you don't know me, I'm a huge people person. One of my favorite things to do is to go out to eat and have a conversation with someone. And just earlier today, Janetti, he left earlier, but we had a conversation. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm super excited to have more conversations to get to know more of you and the students here in Whitewater. And like I said earlier, I'm super excited for this position. So thank you.
Alrighty, we'll go into 5 questions here. I'm just gonna go left and right. Parliamentarian Pennell. Okay. Senator Reyes.
Yeah, this is a question for Isaiah. Was Luke the only candidate, or is it other people apply for this position?
We had lots of candidates.
This position?
Yep, we had lots of candidates for all different kinds of positions. We said we were going to hire the best people. Luke's the best person.
Okay. Parliamentarian Pennell.
How do you see the associate director and the director interacting with each other?
Great question. They haven't interacted with each other much. I think Daly and Luke have known each other for maybe an hour and a half now. But I think the first thing that's important to us is making sure just before we were kind of wrapping up some of the bills, honoring some folks, I went over to the two of them. I said, I need you guys to stay here for PEEP. I need you folks to stay here for 10 minutes after the meeting, just so I can touch base with you about times and also kind of talk about direction. And I think when I think about the breakdown of how they're going to work together, the director is going to be the person who is often front facing toward our executive tier leaders. It's difficult to get a clean breakdown before both of those humans show up in those roles. But in terms of how the work manages out, we've titled the director as in charge of meetings and oversight. So making sure that all the initiatives that we run in the student affairs space are being seen through, and oftentimes won't be an actual manager on those roles. Whereas the associate director will be the manager. They'll be often, if we need to go to different shared governance groups to get something passed, that person drafts the email, that person shows up at that governance event, that person writes the policy maybe that needs to be passed in those meetings. Right. So when we think about working laterally as executives, Paige and I, it's going to mean that we need somebody to be able to dive into a space quickly and produce. And that's the job of the associate director. Did that answer the question? I can take a follow-up if you want on that.
Yeah.
Senator Gillig.
You mentioned attendance changes and changes in e-board/Senate culture and like meetings, like relating to attendance. Can you explain this further?
Attendance changes?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I heard you say something about that.
I don't think I've talked about it. Yeah. Do you have a specific?
I don't remember the.
I talk about changing culture a lot.
Yeah.
That's like a culture of do and the kind of 2-pillar structure and that kind of thing. I think maybe a pivot. I don't know from how Doug leads entirely. I'm in e-board meetings, but I'm not really a member of e-board as speaker. So different presidents and vice presidents have navigated the tracking of hours differently. Paige and I are particularly passionate about seeing things get done, not particularly where they're done. So I think it's important that we allow time for directors to be in the office, to show up in the spaces, to be present for students. But in terms of like actually clocking office hours, those are probably things that we'll begin to track as we find it necessary and as we have conversations with Liv. So I could see maybe a pivot there in terms of, they'll complete their scheduled hours per week, but that's maybe a place where they're doing less physical work in the office because, as many of you know, I have found a real second home in the library, in some of their conference rooms in the general access lab. It's just where I work best. So over the last 2 semesters, I've begun to work less in the WSG office because loud music is playing and people I love are there. So it's hard for me to focus. But when I'm alone in a room with just a whiteboard, that's where I get my work done best. So, wherever the directors need their space to complete their work, maybe that's a pivot. So.
Senator Lang.
From what it sounds like, the associate director here is going to be a quote unquote workhorse for the realm of student affairs. So my question to Senator Schroffnagel would be, how are you prepared to handle that workload with balancing all of your outside commitments that you already have and will still have in the fall?
It's a great question because I recently stepped down from the homecoming steering committee, mainly because I was going to be missing homecoming that week. But other than that, I have peer mentorship. And then in the summer, I have an opportunity to apply for something in the FFA, which would take a year internship. How I balance that, it's how I balance everything I do right now. I wake up early. I don't go on a 4-mile run, but I do study. And I'm a very schedule-oriented person. I don't really like change. I'm new and open to change, but I do enjoy getting things done with the full heart. So.
I can attest, he stretches every single night before bed.
I do some stretching. But no, just prioritizing my work. This is a new opportunity. It's a new job. It would become my priority. So I would make changes in my schedule to get things done. What comes with the Student Affairs Associate Director.
And then here with our 5th question, Dr. Rosenquist.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of wondering, what are some of your You've talked about making this like a priority, like kind of coming second to academics. That can be like really hard to give up some of your other responsibilities. I've personally had to do it, so I commend you for like committing to that. Sometimes it can be hard. And then I kind of wanted to ask, what are some of your like priorities or stuff that you're excited to work within student affairs in?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned from my father is see a need and fill a need. And something I've seen on campus a lot is the lack of connection. Some people who live in my dorm have no idea what Whitewater student government is. And I think one of the biggest goals of mine for next year is to host some sort of event, whether that's a cookout or like a bingo night, to connect students. And maybe that goal is not to get them to join WSG, but just connection on campus. And an example of that is earlier this fall, InterVarsity, it's a Christian organization. They hosted one of these like cookouts, and I connected with individuals. I got involved in that organization. So I think that's one of my biggest goals is to create more connection by hosting different events. And I think that's something I'm very strong with my FFA experience is planning and hosting events to connect students.
I don't remember what the FFA initiative was in particular, but when he says he's very experienced, Luke fed something. Am I right in saying, is it 400 or was it like 4,000 people? 4,700 people over a convention span. He brought that up in the interview. So when he talks about number one being a pretty kick butt behind the grill, but also being able to bring people together through food, to bring people together to connect and enjoy. That's something that came through in the interview immensely with Luke. So again, I think he's the best fit for the role.
Alrighty. With that being 5 questions, we will go into a roll call vote. Vote of aye is to confirm Luke Strafnagel as our next Associate Director of Student Affairs. Vote of nay is to not do that. Clarifying questions on voting? None. With that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Freeberg. Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Strafnagel.
I abstain.
Senator Thompson. Senator Wells. Nay. Senator Werner.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman. Senator Geely.
No.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Majors. Yes. Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell. Senator Thompson. Aye. Senator Lang. Nope, sorry. Senator Majors. Aye. Speaker Patricus.
Aye. Alrighty, in a vote of 10 to 5 with 1 abstention, and congratulate Luke Strafnagel, who will be our next Associate Director of Student Affairs. Alrighty, with that, we are into item I, confirmation vote on the appointment of the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, Board of Majors. Get the floor whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Wonderful. So I've told a story at the beginning of all these, so I guess I'll just tell another story. Paige and I were, very early on into when we were thinking of running, said, I don't think we need a Director of Intergovernmental Affairs. And we held that opinion until, I don't know, roughly 30 minutes after Court's interview. Court came in applying for the Student Affairs Directorship, and we talked all about the city. We talked about our current campus relationship with how we navigate elections with the gubernatorial election coming up. We talked about how we have navigated with the city in the past as it relates to discussions like Starin Road. And Court laid out a initiative that had to do with repairing relationships with folks she already knows from the city, repairing relationships with folks on campus, and then actually delivering on key deliverables when it comes to how do we get more students to volunteer to help work polls? How do we get more students to vote? How do we get WSG to better dive into the culture of interacting with the city and interacting with our elections? These are things that I think, the parliamentarian asked me earlier what I would do if we tried something and it didn't work. I think Paige and I were very close to trying a year without Court on our team and also a year without an intergovernmental affairs director. I like to think that we would have pivoted, but luckily we caught it before then because of the strength of Courtney's interview. So I don't think that there is anyone better suited for the role. And we have, can I get a show of hands? How many people know what an intergovernmental affairs director is? Can I ask that? Who's like seen it?
Like one in the role.
Yeah. Who's seen an intergovernmental affairs director in the role? Yeah, so not a lot of the room. We happen to have a hand raised very high. So if we want to talk about what Chairman Art Smith, as they used to hold that directorship, what Director Smith at the time did in the role, how they succeeded. I think that's also a pretty, I asked Oren before this if that was okay, and Oren said yes. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, that's okay as well. But otherwise, I will just let Court have the floor.
Are you yielding to Chairman Smith?
All right. So a lot of you know who I am. I'm hoping that the relationship I've built within the Senate is one of a strong and positive nature. If there's any, I'm willing to answer any questions you have, even if you don't get recognized. If you have any questions about why I'm qualified for this role, I would love to answer those questions. I don't want there to be a relationship where you don't know or you don't feel comfortable coming up to me and asking. As Isaiah mentioned, I have already a pretty positive relationship in both the city with our city clerk, Heather, as well as other areas within the city, but also across campus and our key leaders there as well.
All right, with our first question, Senator Coleman.
What are your hopes in regards to scaffolding off-campus / commuter spaces, representation, and interest in like on-campus senators?
Yeah, so I'm an off-campus senator myself. I represent off-campus senators. I'm also a commuter. On top of that, I'm also an elections inspector for the city of Whitewater, so I see these things directly. A lot of the time we see that our voter turnout from one election to the next is not consistent or is significantly lower than what it was. I can give a direct example of this. In the November presidential election, we had a very, very high turnout, as many of you are aware. And then in this past election, from that November election to this past election, there was only a 2% turnout estimated by the city. So trying to get that back up is something that we are very invested in, is making sure that those voters who are on campus feel comfortable voting even in those what would be considered smaller elections. No matter their importance, they're all important.
Alrighty. Senator Fossil.
This one is for candidate teachers. What relevant experiences do you bring that would further aid you in this role if appointed?
Yeah, of course. So I mentioned it just previously. I'm an election inspector for the city of Whitewater. I've done this for just about a year, meaning I have had those relationships. I know how elections work here on campus, as well as I'll bring my SAI work into it a bit as well. I'm currently the project assistant for Angela Meldonian. Through that, I've built a working relationship with a good number of professional staff. So being able to bring those connections, especially to the Dean of Students, who is especially relevant when it comes to election engagement here on campus.
Senator Lang.
I asked this to pretty much everyone. So how are you prepared to balance your WSG commitments with your outside of work commitments?
Yeah, so we've heard a lot about how we have all those colors on our calendar. I am very good with keeping a very up-to-date calendar. I particularly block off a lot of both studying, classes, any personal items I have as well. I make sure those are blocked off on my calendar as soon as I know about them. That way, when someone is looking at my calendar to set up a meeting, they are able to set that up pretty clearly and they know when I'm available. I also help balance about 6 other calendars with some committees that I help run across the University Center.
Any other questions here? Senator Coleman?
What's the power tool that you?
I'm so sorry, I cannot quite hear you.
What power tool would you be?
Oh, what power tool or tool in the toolbox?
Tool in the shed box. What tool?
I think when I last ran, my answer was a multi-tool, kind of like we've heard already, and I think that's definitely true. I can fill a lot of different niches. I have a very large student experience as a first gen student, a granddaughter of immigrants, a commuter student, and a transfer student. So I fill a lot of those small niches that we often don't see representation for.
One final question here. Senator Lang.
How do you see your role interacting with elected officials who also represent their constituents' needs to city employees?
That is a very great question. I really enjoyed that one. Thank you. I think it's a lot of finding that in between of where they feel comfortable, where I feel comfortable, and first representing our students to those elected officials, as oftentimes we do have students who do sit on Common Council, which is this body that we have in the area. So making sure that their voices are heard, well as also making sure that we bring up any concerns that our students here have on campus that might not have been missed by those individuals.
In past, we have somebody in the room who once reached out to, I think it was like every statewide official, basically. I think it was everyone who was on the ballot at the time. Could you talk about what that experience was like when you were Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, Warren?
Sure.
Yield to Chairman Arspeth.
I was Director of Intergovernmental Affairs for the presidential election in 2024. So most of my interactions weren't necessarily with local representatives. It was largely, there was a presidential race, of course, on the ballot, but there were also some state level representation and some county level representation. At my time in the role, a lot of it was organizing Q&A sessions with different candidates. It was coordinating 30 plus volunteers for election day, which won't be as heavy when it's not a presidential debate election. But I reached out to every candidate on the ballot, presidential and down, and invited them to our campus multiple times, requested that they come speak at Q&A forums. Sadly, most people who are running for elections aren't the most responsive. So we didn't always get responses, but we were able to do some of those. So a lot of my time in the role is specifically centered around voter turnout and shifting some of our campus policy processes after the 2024 election to better suit our campus at large. Most of my role was not the liaison role between our organization and the state.
So that's an example of some of the ways in which you navigate working with people who are on a ballot or are currently an elected official. And Cord will do a great job of that.
Alrighty. With that being 5 questions, we're going to roll call vote. Same question, vote of aye, same confirm, vote of nays, not. You can also pass, abstain, all that fun stuff. Any clarifying questions on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll whenever you are ready?
Senator Reyes. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Schroffnagel.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Warner.
Nay.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman. Senator Geelig.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez.
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors, Senator Rapunzel,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reberg.
Aye.
Speaker Patrigas.
Aye. Alrighty, and a vote of 14-1 with one abstention. I want to congratulate Courtney Majors on being our next director. Alright, with that, we are into item J, last item of new business. That's 25-26-14, the Election Rules Overhaul Act of 2026. And I am passing the gavel to our Sue, Austin Reberg.
I'm willing to, I'm willing to bet 0 people in this room other than Sadie and I have read this. But this is something we wanted to get in front of you. This is the culmination of a year's worth of work of rewriting the entirety of Section 11 of our standing rules, our election rules, how we govern our elections, and then kind of some attachments of rewriting the clerk's role description so it's consistent, and just some things that need to happen because of that. But essentially, actually, I get the mouse. The first part here with all the colors is amending our current standing rules. So rewrite, or it just kind of cleans up the language and makes it consistent in our code of conduct. Doesn't really change it, like nothing is functionally different. Adds that we need to take minutes. We do this currently, this doesn't create this, it just kind of cleans up some language. Some of the language here cleaning up. Rewrites the entirety of the clerk role description. You should read it. But this would make it consistent and in line with the past 2 S bills we've passed, which have done that for our Senate officers and for our executive board. It amends some like the elections committee description, right? Changes that because we are changing parts of the election. And then all the next 10-ish pages is the entirety of Section 11. We're not going to do this whole thing today. Essentially just want to get this in front of you so that you can read it and talk about it. Not in a way that would violate quorum, but in a way that you can ask questions on what this means, right? And then right here, this is just cleaning up some of the language and making it consistent. And these are some templates here that we're adding. Formatting's not great on screen here, but it should be fine in the document if you look at it. But yeah, that's just the structure. I don't know if I really want to get some of the biggest changes. Sweet. I'm gonna just quickly touch on each section. I don't want to bore you. It's a long document, and I want you to read it to understand the gravity and the weight of what this would mean. But it adds some definitions here in 11.1. A lot of them are same, but a lot of them are like clarified further, and we do have some new definitions. This moves the candidate eligibility requirements, so it like is clear like what they are. How am I eligible for elections? It creates an appointment section here, so it would create a process that is in line with our Constitution. And then it adds, I think, just a significant change is E here, that if a senator is no longer resides in the district in which they're appointed to, they can, if they move, you don't have to, currently, what you have to do is you have to rerun. And so one of my announcements later is that if you're moving and you want to rerun, or you're moving from the Esker to the Drumlin district, in the fall, you would have to stand up here and run. This would allow you, if there's an open seat, to just collect signatures and move without having to run for reappointment. You're already a senator. I don't see the need to not have you do that. Defines what, a big change. What? Ooh, yes. For a while, so about 10 years ago, we did some digging. To run in the Senate election, you would need 25 signatures to be on the ballot. About 10 years ago, they changed that to 50. We have no record of why. We asked Jan, Advisor Emeritus Bilgan. She had no recollection of why. There was no notes. That's so a change that this is proposing is to change that back to 25. Because really, there's no incentive to run in an election, other than if you want to run for Senate leadership at that first meeting. Because you have to collect 50 signatures, which is double what you would if you just wait till the first meeting and then run for reappointment. That only incentive is being able to run and to vote for Senate leadership. So this would change that to 25. So then it's the same for appointment, which is defined by our Constitution, and election, which will hopefully incentivize more participation in Senate elections. It also changes the executive election. It goes from 200 to 300, which is an increase of 100. We felt that was appropriate to, if you are interested in running for student body president, this number doesn't really matter. Like we'll collect 1,000 if you're that interested. So this does increase the barrier to entry, but I think it will help.
And it kind of evens out the percent of.
And it kind of evens out the percent of students that you are speaking to and getting endorsed to be on the ballot from with Rock County. As Rock County campus, they currently need to get 25 signatures and we're keeping it at 25. And then we are upping the Esker, Drumlin, and off-campus districts from 50 to 75. And then just the 25 additional anywhere signatures are going up to 50. And we did a little math on that. Currently, from Senate seat allocation in the fall, off campus had 7,936 students. So that came to getting 75 signatures from them being 0.9451%. Drumlin has 1,787 students. That's 4.2%. Esker has 2,505. So that's 2.99%. And then at Rock County campus has 772. And so that brings it to 3.24%.
All right. Scrolling here. It changes the name from Elections Committee to Elections Commission. And the biggest reason for that is just to signify that there's a change, right? Section 11 has not changed significantly in decades, might be too long, but at least I know it's years. It's probably close to a decade, if not longer. So we've had the same rules for a while. This signifies that this is a change, right? These are different rules. There's a lot of similarities, but they are different nonetheless. It does define an alternate appointment procedure. So currently the regular appointment is both executive officers and all members of the executive board. That is the current system. If any one of those is a candidate, they are all ineligible, with the exception of the clerk, and then the alternate appointment process occurs. That is the current process, right? We're just giving them names. The alternate, it consists of at least 10. So they are appointed by the Speaker in consultation with the Chair of the Elections Commission and then confirmed by a simple majority vote of the Senate. So much like the confirmations we did tonight, we would do that with members of the Elections Commission. And then if the Speaker's a candidate, there's a process for that. And then if we need to appoint new members, there's a process for that. And then this defines what the Chair of the Elections Commission does during elections, what the Vice Chair does, what the Secretary does, when they will meet, if we need to remove someone. Another big thing is I wanted to have a lot of our dates. I want to have all of our dates. I don't think this is all, or I believe this is all of them, just in a single place. So these are all of the deadlines. So then if these change, you don't have to change it in like 5 different places. You can just change it here. So then they're not inconsistent. And if you're like, oh, when do I have to do this thing? Or if I have to make an elections calendar, I can look at just this section. And then it's, what you have to do during when you're campaigning. A lot of this is copied over. What the violation section is. If you were a senator in January, you saw this already. It is that same process, has not changed. We struck it from that bill, but it is that same process. The 3 different degrees and the letters. And then the process for voting, right? Like what for online procedure, for paper ballot procedures, right? This is new, campaign finance. We want to be able to have equitable elections. Someone should not be able to bankroll a student government election. I don't think people have, but that should not be an option for them to do that. So this creates some spending limits and what some penalties would be if you don't follow that. Certification of the election. If we need to trigger I can zoom in here actually, I'm so sorry. If we need to trigger a contingency election, if someone resigns before if a president-elect resigns, what happens? The appeals process, this is copied from our current standing rules. Referenda is largely copied. I think there's some wording changes and some clerical edits, and then amendments is largely the process is the same. I think there's some wording changes. Oaths of office are the same, just reformatting. This I believe is adding to our standing rules, but it is the current template. I'll yield to the clerk on that one, but
Yeah.
yeah. And this doesn't work, but it doesn't look great. It's just updating some language, and that's what the rest of this is. With that, we yield to questions.
So this is an SL, so there are 2 parts to this. Is there gonna be like another special session to finish this, or is this gonna be brought up during the fall?
The hope, the goal is to, now that you all have this, give you some time to review it, and then mid-June, sometime in June, call another special session to vote on it. So then there would be in effect for the Senate election in the fall. It would be done during the same presidential term. But then you don't have 3 months to let it sit in the backlog, and then in September you're like, I haven't read this yet. Give you enough time, do the balancing act.
Senator, what kind of parameters were you thinking about when placing those limits on campaigning budgets?
I can speak to this unless Sadie has anything. The biggest priority was not allowing someone to be able to spend as much as they want to kind of buy an election. We're all broke college kids. I don't know if that's really happened, but it should not be an option. It's 11.9, I believe. Look at that. So the limits is 25 for Senate elections, 250 for executive elections. I would have liked to make Senate elections 0 because you should not have to spend anything. And I think having a limit really kind of just encourages that. But if you want to buy some posters and hand out some flyers, those are going to cost money. And then executive elections, typically candidates buy like banners or posters or flyers. So that one's a little bit higher. I would love to yield some time, if you'll allow me, to Chairman Art Smith, who I consulted in drafting these.
I helped kind of formulate this part of this bill. As someone who's run in like state mandated elections, for the Whitewater Common Council in particular, there are guidelines on how much you can spend in a campaign based upon the population of the area you're running in. So assembly candidates for the state can spend a lot more in an election than I as a town representative can spend on my election. So we talked quite a bit about what that looks like here, what needs might be for elections and campaigning. But we really wanted to make sure that just because someone has a larger budget to spend on their campaign shouldn't mean that they win because of that. So we tried to find kind of a good model that still allowed for regular spending expenditures, I guess, without limiting people from still being able to reach.
As a broke college student who has run for student body president, it is something you don't want to have to think about, and you are forced to think about. Paige and I were lucky enough to not be in a contested race, but in contested races, you start to think about every instance in which somebody else is getting visibility that you aren't, and there are often dollars attached to that. I am extremely in favor of there being spending limits in an executive election. The only question I would have, and it doesn't need to be answered now, we've got tons of time with this, is I think banners are pretty consistently a campaign tool of executive elections. I'm not super for them, and if your banner is going to exceed $500, it might say something about your banner. But I would just I didn't have to go through the stress of looking to buy a banner. One of the submitters has. So I would ask you kind of what that process looked like. There's someone else in the room who has gone through that process. But I don't know if that dollar figure aligns with sort of what the standard campaign costs are, because Paige and I were pretty lucky in that respect. But if you could talk about what that looked like, I would appreciate it.
I've been in a contested executive election where we have purchased a banner before. I do recall it being under $250. I thought it was a lot cheaper. I'll be able to Chairman Smith on the exact cost of the hazard.
When we discussed the executive election part specifically, we specifically discussed the cost of a banner. We purchased our banner through University Marketing and Communications across the hall, which any student can do. And I would say, I had to remember this for our conversation, total cost between printing the banner, which can vary depending on the material you choose, etc., as well as hanging it, because if you want to take up space, whether that's tabling, whether that is hanging a banner, and you're not directly affiliated with the student organization, which campaigns aren't, you have to pay for that as well. That was around $75. And so that still left a huge chunk of the $250 for other forms of promotion, other opportunities to table, which is kind of how we landed at that $250 number.
Seeing none, we'll move into content changes.
I move to postpone this legislation until the next Senate meeting.
See, as that was a valid motion, second.
Discussion on that motion.
I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet money, I'm willing to bet 2 people in this room
Have read this in its entirety. That being myself and Sadie J. West, our clerk. So I want to give you all an opportunity to be able to read through this and understand what it means. And then be able to make content changes, because I'm willing to bet we made mistakes. It's 27 pages, or it's a little bit shorter than that, but it's 25, something like that. This is a long document nonetheless. So you should be able to understand what this means and then make changes if you wish.
Point of information, this is to postpone until September 14th or the second special session in June.
The next Senate meeting, whenever that is, depending on schedules and availability.
Is there any further discussion? I'm just gonna ask for unanimous consent to do that. To postpone those in the next Senate meeting. So I'm not loud and I don't do this anymore. So, if anybody's opposed, say something opposed. Seeing nobody opposed, so that's what we're gonna do. Thank you.
Alrighty, with that, we're into announcements, of which I have two. Looking at scheduling for the fall, the first day of classes, I think is September 2nd or the 3rd, remember that Tuesday or Wednesday? 2nd. That Monday is Labor Day, so we would not have a regularly scheduled Senate meeting. So then the first regularly scheduled Senate meeting will be the third week of classes, September 14th. And on that meeting is when we'll do the election of the Senate Outreach Officer. It's a very own Austin Bayberg is graduating. So yeah. Any other announcements, Advisor Clarkson?
I have two. One is if you happen to be graduating this week, remember that there are stoles and cords available through my office. There is a deposit for them that you can pay cash or check. I'm going to go down to my office right after this for anybody who is in that state and has cash with them. And then my second one is that I need to send an email tonight to campus leadership with the phone numbers and contact information for the July 1st cabinet. So if I can have those individuals stop by and confirm the information that I have so that our campus leadership has ways to connect with you over the coming months, that'd be appreciated.
Real quick, if you are graduating this week, can you just stand up for me real quick. All right, any other announcements, Vice President Reiser?
So if you are not returning, please bring your binder back. We do collect those, so I'll be here, so please bring it up. Or you can bring it in this week too, if you don't have it with you. Thank you.
If you do not return, it is a $10 charge to your student bill. Chairman Art Smith.
During this meeting, you received an email that had public notice for 2 meetings. So feel free to take a look at that when you have any questions.
President-elect Wilson.
Paige and I just want to express a little bit of gratitude for you sticking through the entire ledge process with us and making sure that you, demonstrated your faith in the team's ability to get work done. We really appreciate it. It has been a long time coming. And the second thing is that it is the team so far. So the applications are still open for a few positions. We're going to go through on Connect and kind of fix what the application looks like. But there are a few positions that we're still looking to hire. If you have interest in that, or you think you might have people who are interested in that, our plan is to continue to connect with the speaker so that if there's a special session for June, if June is the dartboard, we want to make sure that our schedule aligns with your schedule to the best of our ability. So thank you for your faith, and we're excited to get to work next year. Thank you.
Senator Reyes, our last announcement.
Hello, everyone. As this semester comes to a close, I'll take a moment to share something personal with all of you. Over the past several months, I've been navigating the demanding process of transfer applications while balancing academics, involvement, and life outside the classroom. It's been challenging, but also rewarding. Grateful to say that I've been accepted into both the University of Michigan and the University of Wisconsin-Madison. After careful consideration, I've chosen to continue my education at UW-Madison this fall. Its proximity to home, affordability, strong alumni network make it the right next step for me. This means that tonight will be my final meeting as a member of the Whitewater Student Government. Serving as a senator has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my time at UW Whitewater. I've learned so much from each of you through collaboration, debate, shared commitment we all have to improve this campus. Even during long meetings and difficult discussions, our collective goal has always been the same, doing what is best for the Whitewater community. I'm proud of the work we have accomplished together, grateful for the friendships and connections I've made along the way. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this organization, for shaping my experience here in ways I will always appreciate. I wish you all continued success, and I look forward to seeing all the incredible things WSG will accomplish in the future. And with that, thank you.
Seeing no other announcements, we are on to adjournment. Senator Majors,
Motion to adjourn.
for a second. Senator Wells,
Second.
second. Go to voice vote. Acclamation's been called. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, we're out here at 9:08.
Everything.
And you.
Hey, congrats, dude.
There was a lot of suspense in that too, Gabe. I felt like you were choosing like high school, you know, when they're like good high school basketball players. It's like, which half are you gonna pick up and put on? I was excited.
Yeah.
I appreciate it though.
Somebody else had yours. Like accurate. It should be A.
Fire. Thank you.
I know, oh, trust me, I know.
Every time I
It
go.
was really down.
I don't know.
Oh, I got the
Shooters, but right now I was like, it's on your cabinet. So I'm like, oh my God, if I go home, because I'm tired. But it's like go home slowly, it's like this little like fabric. That's all these little bubbles, little flowers. That natural. Great.
Really?
Okay, so this will be your student government. So this should be student government. Okay. All of your positions, but the chancellor, when they can't schedule things, they have to be that good person. So that's your email address. And perfect, thank you so much. Congratulations. Yes. Did you hear me? Okay. Okay, I'll give that phone number.
Yeah. 773. 849.
It's actually good. Old transmission materials.
773.
Wait, so where do you want to do something like? So right, so this won't start until July.
Yep.
We will get emails. Oh, let's see. Ask them to put everything right there, so open records.
Yes.
But when the chief understands, don't worry, they will out. Oh, so excited.
All right. Thank you very much.
You got this. We're gonna try this.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, I can trust him.
It's still 417.
I'll be here all summer.
At the very least, you'll get the invite.
And then I have that for January.
Yeah.
Actually, doesn't look that bad. I'm gonna just take it. Yes.
Hey, Courtney, I have, so that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Isaiah, get out.
And then this will be your email.
Yes.
Starting in July.
Oh, okay. Cause I was feeling.
Take a look at that last one.
But those
Obviously, we're gonna.
look more vintage, do you know what I mean? Those look more vintage, but like I wanna take my kids. I have not, like.
About to say.
You know what I mean, like those are like.
Sadly, next week I am in Texas at a conference all week, but after that I'm back on.
Yeah.
You need any of some of your chips?
Okay. Yes, let's send leadership in here, grab your reminders. Yeah.
Number is open.
Oh.
Thank you. I don't know how we got through the last 2 years without me having it, but. WebEx was 7.5.
891.
Maybe like, yeah, right here, maybe. So the.
It's like the last piece.
No, I will text you whenever I get home.
Right.
For us to
It's definitely. Alright.
I know.
Congrats, yay.
Do you want some like flowers?
Oh my god, thank you.
Don't do that. I was actually like, you do that. Be center. As long as they're there. I was getting that. Yeah, you're a quarter of it. You're expecting to be.
I spent you.
We're just right there.
I think they just show that.
Oh, right there. Is that fine?
It just shows like there's. I feel like I know what I'm doing with this stupid, okay, parliamentarian, I think I put, well, I don't have